We are brought to you by Boss Bears Supplements. That's Boss Bears Supplements at bossbears.co. Hard work, consistency, and determination are difficult to sustain when your mind and body can't keep up. Fuel your body with what it needs to perform like a boss. Whether you're closing deals, pitching a new business idea, or training in the gym, Boss Bears take your hustle to the next level. Our ingredients are the highest quality with potency and serving sizes that are the gold standard in the industry. Check out all of Boss Bear's products at bossbears.co. They have apple cider vinegar gummies. They have ashwagandha. They have all kinds of supplements in delicious gummy form. They also have them in pill form if you don't want the gummies. I prefer the gummies. They are delicious, and I've tried the apple cider vinegar. They are very good. Use code Nicky at checkout to save 10%. That's bossbears.co, code Nicky. We are brought to you by Clout Power Supplements. That's KLOUTPWR.com. So here I have the protein, the Cravings protein from Clout. This one is the salted caramel. This is some of the best protein that I've ever had in my life. It's actually delicious. I like the salted caramel and the cinnamon swirl are my two favorites. Also, their pre-workouts are amazing. So they have the Karma Nootropic pre-workout. It's a nootropic and focused pre-workout. It's a lower stimulant formula, zero itch formula. It has 4 trademark ingredients, and has fully dosed ingredients. So far, the Arctic Cherry is probably my favorite of the Karma pre-workout. Also, try the Nero Aminos from them. And also the High Stimulant Mamba is some of my favorite too. And I really like the Arctic Cherry of that one. So go to cloutpower.com and use code Nicky to save 15%. KLOUTPWR.com. Code Nicky to save 15%. All right, everybody, welcome to the Nicky Free Podcast. We are here with podcast regular and one of my favorites, host of Off the Deep End podcast, Mr. Eddie Lowery. Eddie, how you doing, dude?
Oh my God. I always try to say something different, but today I'm just going to rock with, I'm absolutely phenomenal. You know, when I woke up today, I was so overwhelmed with excitement. Not just to do this, but just to be around you, man, because you are a giant when it comes to positive energy. You know, you shed a lot of light on things that don't get talked about a lot in the fitness community, just like struggles and how to overcome them. And I really do admire that about you. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to have another conversation. And I'm excited because I came bearing gifts as always. Okay, I doubled up today, though. Okay, first.
Yes, sir.
First, I brought you a T-shirt, right?
Yes, sir.
T-shirt for you, some swag for you, big dog. You can scan the back, right?
Oh,
and when you
yeah.
scan the back, it takes you to my podcast, so you can
Check
tap in.
out. That's dope,
and on the
dude.
front, it says OTDE, off the deep end, don't pass the pain, which is what we're all about.
That's I really like that saying because it's so true, man. Like you have to stop it with you, right? Like we've talked a lot about that kind of stuff on here, and yeah, you know, even you get that all the time. Like, I mean, that's like. When people are hating on you, that's what they're doing, right? It's because they're in pain, you know. So it's like, yeah, or they're like projecting their stuff on you. So like, is that how did you come up with that saying?
Don't pass the pain. I heard the term, or excuse me, I heard the conversation surrounding suicide, and when it was centered around, you know, suicide is not a way of ending pain. Mm-hmm. It multiplies it, it amplifies it, and it passes it to those around you. So that's where I kind of gathered from there. Like, don't pass the pain to others, but also if you're hurt, don't hurt other people, because that's another way.
Right. So
of
I didn't
passing
even
the pain.
think about it in the context you were about the suicide. So like when you're in pain and you decide to do something about it, you decide to end your life or whatever. The pain's not going away. You're just passing it to other people.
Yes.
That's kind of the basic idea of it, huh?
100%, brother. And
So-
how many people out there don't have any idea or can't even possibly quantify the love that people around them have for them?
Right. They're not realizing it, right?
Yes.
And so I was thinking of it in the context of like, yeah, like when people are hurt themselves, they'll usually try to pass it on. Like, you know, like I shared that thing the other day about like, you know, if you're happy, it's going to piss off a lot of unhappy people.
I love that.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's so true. Like if you're kind of up and people, there's certain people, like if you're up and you're doing good and you're kind of leading, you know, or you're doing great in life, there's certain people that are going to look up to you as like an example, and they're going to get motivated by you. And they're going to be like, man, or even they're going to be like, you know what? I don't really feel like working as hard as that guy, but you know what? I like what he's doing. I'm glad he's out there. I'm chill with just being myself, but I'm glad he's out there working hard. Or there's going to be people that are pissed off that you're doing well, and they're going to try to bring you down to their level.
The haters, yes.
The haters. So that's kind of like
Yes.
too, like they're going to try to pass that pain on to you, you know? So
I can get down with that. You know
Yeah.
what? Maybe it means, maybe don't pass the pain just means something to so many different people, just like so much.
Isn't that weird? Like, you know, you hear a great song with like great lyrics, and like great writers will write stuff where it's like, they kind of leave it open to interpretation, right? So like instead of just you know, having an exact thing that they mean, it's like they kind of leave it open to the listener to like, you know, it could mean this or it could mean this to somebody else, or like I always like shit like that, you know.
Yeah, brother. I
Like
get
great,
down with
there's
that.
great artists like that, right? Yeah. But anyway, dude. So what else is new, man?
What else is new? Well, I have been just so full of life lately because of my experiences.
Yeah.
My wife is just you know, such an amazing woman, and she
I got to meet her. She is an amazing woman. She added me on Facebook too. So
yeah. We're all
I'm like, I've made it. I've made it.
You made it, dude. That's the level. I mean, she's
Rannon's
so
added me, yeah.
Yeah, that's it too, right?
Yeah.
Because when you create a community around you of positive people,
Yeah.
we can help uplift each other so much, and that's one of my favorite things about this little game we play called life. Having the ability to take inspiration from somebody else, and I take so much inspiration from her, so much damn inspiration. I can't put it into words properly at all.
Right.
She's my absolute hero. She gives me so much time and space to focus on my goals, because she understands that if I don't work towards a goal, I'll get athlete syndrome, which is, to me, athlete syndrome is when you're training for something, you feel good. When you're at the peak of the performance, you feel great. And then afterwards, you get that, you know, kind of like bodybuilding with the post-show depression kind of thing, right?
I made a comment about that after my show. Like I posted something where I was like post-show depression, which I was kind of kidding, you know, like it was just like, because there's this weird thing in bodybuilding where it's like, you want to post like a picture of yourself still having abs after you just ate like crazy amounts of sugar and shit, like trying to show like, hey, look at, I still got it after eating like Pop-Tarts. But anyways, that is a real thing though that happens, that post-show depression. So like it's always like then you're like, I need the next thing and the next thing, and so it's like me, I'm jumping right into this next show, and I'm like, if I wasn't, I would feel kind of empty right now.
Because you're a goal chaser now, right?
But I really wouldn't, because you think about it, dude. I got the podcast, I got my personal training, I got so many other things. Like, so like, but it is kind of like nice doing another show right in a row, because it's like now I got another challenge right away. You know,
I love it, dude.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think it's important to see when you're on like a long journey or a hike in life, the next hill and the next hill, no matter how steep it looks. The steeper, for some people like me personally, the steeper the better when it comes to goals. There was a quote that was told to me. It was it's like a Christian quote, right? So he was talking about, I don't want to mess it up, and I'm not going to try to perfectly say it. So just to kind of paraphrase, you know, don't ask God for small things. You know, ask him, make him lean forward in his chair up in heaven or whatever, right? Ask him for things so drastic that he tells the angels, "Did you hear that?
Yeah.
You hear him asking for this?" That is kind of a similar. We can compare it, even if for the non-believers, we can compare that very easily to how we look at our goals.
Yes.
When you look to the next goal, you know, are you really setting the bar just above your expectations for yourself? Because as human beings, we're capable of great and powerful things regularly. We should be challenging ourselves. Do hard things often, so that the small or even the most drastic family situations seem very small. You don't want to get caught up in the drama and the monotony of keeping up with the drama in your life. You can't do that when you got the goals and the aspirations and everything.
I'm 100% with you, dude.
Yeah,
The more stuff you do hard in life, the better life is. Like, it just makes all that nothing stuff seem like nothing, because it is nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then it makes the hard stuff seem easier too.
Well, you know, your last guest was talking about it, Zach Hall. He said that
dude,
if you,
Zach's fucking
you know,
great.
going up against your primal responses, right? The human body also doesn't like resistance in life, right?
No.
So just like water, it will find the path of least resistance. Just
Right.
like electricity, all of it is the same. We're very similar to these things.
Yes.
And I can recognize as a human being, I can recognize patterns. I will find myself trying to do simple things just for the simplicity of it. Why do that and sacrifice the possibility of learning more about myself in the journey, right?
Right, doing the hard thing.
Yeah, man. How was your prep? Tell me about your prep, because your prep was I watched and you got leaner and meaner, and then you got a little darker, and then you stepped on stage.
Yeah, dude. So it was wild because so this whole moving situation came up during the prep, which was like super stressful because I didn't know it was happening, and it just kind of came out of nowhere. And so it threw me off a little bit, but then at the end of the prep, I really just focused because I was able to move over there and we got all the moving shit done. And then, I don't know, dude, it was really hard, but in a sense, it was kind of like the best thing ever. You know what I mean? It's like really, really hard, but there's some kind of like beauty in how hard it is. Like, you're like waking up every day, like so, and I'm still doing that right now. It's like 6 a.m. You get your cardio in, and then you get your abs in. And then you're towards the end for about 2 weeks, you're eating like no carbs whatsoever. So your body, you start getting fuzzy. So now you're dealing with like not having your brain functioning correctly. You're still trying to like, go train your clients and go to work and everything. And then, get your lift in and stuff. And it's a grind, but there's something like, I was telling Zach, there is this beauty. Like, a lot of times you'll hear people as they age, and I don't think you have this problem because you do so much stuff, and you're always like helping people and you're goal oriented. You're pumping out all these podcasts and stuff. So, and for me, I don't really have this problem either, but you'll hear people that have a regular job where, they're like in 9 to 5 or they're an office job or whatever. And every day seems very similar. So it gets to be this pattern and this routine of kind of like, nothing changes day to day, and then the weekends they'll go out and drink, and it's like a very predictable pattern. And so what happens is you'll hear people be like, man, the years are just flying by. And it's like, well, yeah, because like you're doing the same thing over and over again. So it's like you're on this like hamster wheel, and so time just speeds by because nothing's happening. And I was telling Zach, I'm like, the crazy thing about like the 2 weeks leading up to the show, everything slows down. Because you're in this grind every day, and like every minute of the day matters. Everything you're putting into your body matters. And so like, and because it's such a hard thing, like I said, it's kind of like being a kid again when time was really slow and you appreciated every minute. It was like the last week before the show seemed like an eternity, but like in a good way, because it was like this big journey.
You were living in the moment too.
And I was in the moment like almost the whole time.
That's so
it's
exciting.
like, I don't know, dude. I was like, kind of for me is one of the best experiences I've ever done.
I definitely have an emotional attachment to living in the moment. I don't like having time fly by fast.
Yeah. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
But if you can slow it down, those are the moments,
Yes, brother. I find myself wishing I had so much more time because when you're excited about life and you expect to live forever, and the crazy thing about life is the more you live, the more people you meet, and then the more rapidly they pass away, and you understand the true value.
It gets hard, doesn't it? As we get older, dude.
And I really wish there was just more time. The most valuable gift you can give any human being is time, and especially for kids, right?
Right.
One of my biggest thing that pisses me off is deadbeat dads, dude.
Yeah, that's no good, dude.
Definitely not, man. I can't.
It does make me sad because like even like I would like to have kids someday, and like there was a point where I never did. When I was younger, I'm always like, playing the field, and I'm like that kind of guy. I'm like, I'll never. And now all of a sudden, like, I'm getting closer to 40. I feel this like, I really want to have kids. So I'm like, but I mean, I need to meet somebody first, like settle down and shit.
Yeah.
But it's like something I never really thought of that before. But yeah, so like the idea that someone's gonna do that, which is like to me, it'd be like this gift. Like you've put this, and like I can't imagine having this little person, that's like got your genetics and everything, and you could just like walk away from that. It does not seem like I just couldn't even think like that, like
I grew up, so I don't usually talk about my life experiences in a negative light. I try to just focus on the positive, but I think it's important to be honest and give some perspective. So I personally grew up with a stepfather, right, who is my caretaker.
I remember your story, yes.
And my dad wasn't in my life, in present. And I think that we have a very damaged society when it comes to a APS, absent parent syndrome, is what I call it. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's a clinical term. I'm not a clinical motherfucker, but if I was, I would call it that. And I think that it's so beautiful when people step up and step in to caretake or to be caretakers, to be stewards of the youth.
Yeah, I've known these people that have become stepdads and eventually adopted the kids, you know, like, and it's like those kind of guys, man, that's something else. Cause like now you're not just talking about like, you know, that connection of it's genetically your kid. This is like, you're making this decision to be this person's father that's not even yours, you know, like that takes a big man. Like,
it does, man.
I think that's dope when guys do that, dude. Cause like, you know, it's like, it's probably an unnatural thing in the animal kingdom for like a male to raise another male's. You know, if you think about us like animals, you know.
Yes, we're very primal.
That's kind of what Zach was talking about with like us being higher than animals. We can do those things by overriding those types of systems. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, brother.
Yeah.
It comes. I think it comes down to something very special.
Right.
Are you a steward of humanity and society in general? Would you step up and care for a child that you didn't birth?
Right.
That is like, I think about my younger days where I thought that I appreciated my dad, right? I'm just going to call him my dad because he was always there for me.
Yes.
And it's so beautiful to think that now like I'm 29, I turned 30 in June. I'm about to hit a major cusp of life.
Yeah.
Where, and I'm hopefully.
Dude, the 30s are the best.
I hope so.
You're going to love them.
I hope to have a little man or a little woman of my own as well. And I'm super excited for that journey. But to think about like someone else taking care of someone else's child.
It's a big
when it's not
thing.
yours. You have to have a big heart to fully do that with no animosity, zero jealousy, just all love.
Yeah.
And last week, my dad told me that he feels like God put him on this earth just to love me and my sister. And I was like, all right, are you leaving town? Are you leaving house soon? Because I'm probably gonna cry a bunch, right? And it was so awesome,
some heavy
man.
Shit, dude.
It was so awesome.
That's heavy.
And then we also talked about war for the first time. He never talked about war with me because I don't know. I think that when people experience crazy things, they kind of sequester that part of their life because they don't want to be seen as a warrior, but or for other reasons, I'm not sure.
Or they just don't want to talk about it for some, you know, it's like the personal, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that it's important to air stuff out sometimes, to decompress. I don't think that it's good to force other people to do it in like a clinical way when they don't want to. I think that having the option to talk is good. I think having the option to share is good. Being able to phone a friend, just letting other people know that you're there for them is super huge.
Do you think it's also maybe easier with like doing it on your own? Like when you're forced into it in a clinical, you know, and then it's all these doctors and stuff, but like say you're around like a group of your peers that have dealt with similar things, it might be more valuable to like, you feel comfortable because you know they've gone through similar things where like some doctor, you feel like they don't know shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I could see that kind of mentality of like who the fuck is this doctor? You know, like.
And there's also the crazy side of it too. Am I broken? Am I infected? Is something wrong with me?
Yeah.
Are you going to tell me something's wrong with me? I don't want to come to that realization. I also don't want to be labeled. A lot of times they put veterans and active duty individuals and just human beings in general in boxes, and I don't like that idea. I like breaking out of boxes. I don't like people being called labels. I don't like having your whole life, your hopes, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, who you are as an individual, who you are as in relation to your parents, put into a box or label. Like, I would be very, very sad if someone just called me just a half black, half white guy.
Yeah,
I'm more than that.
That's so much.
I'm so much more than that, man.
You're a human being.
Do you know my favorite holidays? Christmas, okay?
Like, well, you're a full. I feel like that's so unfair when we group all these groups, and we're so bad at it right now, dude. Like in
polarization,
the whole like the political spectrum, they're so bad at like grouping and separating, and like it's so. And it's like, wait, like, no, this is a human being, like a full human being, and you're belittling them by like calling them a this, or calling them a this, and putting them in this, like, you know, it's like, I mean, I don't know, I don't like that. I like to think of people as individuals.
Yes, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and we can find common ground by respecting others.
I mean, obviously, like if people have cultural and you know, different like cultural things they're proud of, like that's awesome, celebrate those things, but like, I mean, I just view humans as like individual people, right? Like,
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, that's the best way to
100%.
do it, I think.
I think that you have a great outlook on life, not just because you're extremely wise, but because you come from a place of love. Like when you walk in love, you really aren't gonna do horrible things in life. Everyone's gonna look to you like, oh, that's a pretty great guy, because you're not gonna be looking to put people in boxes. Putting people in boxes is a very dangerous
I don't
concept
like
as well.
that.
We often measure life in these margins of success and failure.
Yeah.
And putting someone in a box automatically is a nasty stereotype that you're using for them.
It is,
So you're not,
dude.
now you have to fit this mold instead of telling people like it, and it can be very depressing too. Like think back to when you were a child.
Right.
You can be anything you want when you grow up. You can be this, you follow your dreams, and then you become a teenager. They tell you you need to go to college and do this.
Yeah.
You need to get a degree so you can get a job. What happens when you get out? A lot of my friends have a bunch of loans and a whole lot of debt, and sadly their career is not what they chose or
Wow,
expected.
that's a whole big scam right now, the whole student loan thing.
Well, then you get into the worst part, the adult part, where they tell you need to fit in this box or you can't sit with us.
Well, and like I feel like colleges waste so much money too, like on just like, I mean, they're crazy out of control in price, but like also like, I can't remember what I was watching, but just like the amount of money they waste on like staff that they don't need for stupid things. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, just like they could cut a lot of the fat, trim a lot of the fat, make prices lower, like, but they got to hire all these, like, it's just like a lot of silly jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Liaisons and things. Yeah.
Yeah, like stuff you're like, why? They don't need all that shit. Like, I don't know, but they're like big, inflated, over bloated, like, and then we get the cost of it, and then it's kind of a racket too, like the whole student loan thing.
I think when you're in a capitalist society, everything
runs wild,
is subject to corruption, right? Because
Right.
absolute power corrupts absolutely, and money and power are two things normally associated and intermixed
Yeah.
and separated, and that can be in terms of dealing with hunting down sex offenders. If you're
Yes.
in that career field, money and power are usually can be things corrupted with pedophilia.
Right.
Also, when you talk about those lines blurring, we see a person who has a very, very enormous stature, looks very powerful. You think they're an NFL player because they look powerful,
Right.
Which means that they might have a bunch of money. You think they're rich and powerful when you might not know that person who plays for the NFL is taking care of their entire family from Louisiana,
Right.
and they're all dirt poor before that kid made it.
Right.
You never know, right? So perspective, stereotypes, they're all very dangerous things, and I think that when we
That's
look at
pretty interesting, dude.
Yeah, man.
I don't think about that a lot, but you're so right. It's like, and it's unfair to people. Like, I don't know, the lumping of people in boxes. It's like you take away, I don't know, dude. Like, I think we talked about this last time. Like, say you're like, if you're like a black dude who loves like heavy metal.
Yeah.
Or like Slayer or something. People be like, what? Black guys shouldn't listen to that. You listen to rap. It's like, it all gets so silly, right? Like,
Don't get me started on black people and rap and the stereotypes surrounding that.
That's like the one
That's
guess,
like the biggest slippery slope.
that was like Matt Moses was the one guest, and he did this like thing where because of his job, he got to work with like, I think Jaden Smith, and like, they did some kind of packaging for him. I can't remember, but he was talking about how like that family's pretty cool, like Will Smith, and I was thinking of that, like, that was dope when Jada Smith was like the lead singer of this like heavy metal band as a black woman, but she's singing like this hardcore metal.
Break the mold.
You know what I'm saying? Break that mold. That's dope.
Yeah, I think the Smith family is quite talented. Willow is. I remember her first song, "Whip My Hair Back." I think it was one of her first songs. Whip
That
My
was
Hair
her
Back and
big
Forth.
hit, but have you heard her newer stuff? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's some. I think
she's grown as an artist.
she found a vacuum, and she filled it with her talent. And when you bring your talent to places where it's not overfilled, you're gonna have a huge surplus of excitement and life, and the energy inside of other human beings is going to be attracted to it. You'll see all these kids these days grow up and say, "I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up." Do you know how many freaking YouTubers there already are?
Right.
What skills do you have right now as a young child that you can provide to the world? I can find if you give me 10 kids from 10 different schools, 10 they look all different. Don't choose them because of their gender. Don't choose them because of their race or skin color. You don't check a box when you
Right.
these kids. Just grab 10 kids, put them in a room with some Microsoft executives, and see how great products can come out of that conversation.
Right.
Just a 2-hour conversation. What do you like about school? What could be better? What don't you like? These
Yeah.
kids are intelligent, and when you don't label people as young or old, you grow so much. Like
Well, there's a lot of that too. Discounting young people's views and viewpoints, and also discounting old people. We do it a lot. I'll find myself doing that too, like being too ageist about things, and it's not right because, I mean, obviously, like we talked about, like our presidential candidates are both fucking
the Jerry's,
senile,
bro. The Jerry's.
and that's like that. There is that, like that does happen. Like Joe Biden's probably not,
He just needs to know where the chocolate chip ice cream is. Let him be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But also I think like we are too hard on older people in societies that used to like view the elderly as, these wise, like wisdom.
Yes.
Because you've been around a long time, so they have a lot to offer, but we kind of discount them as like, you old fucker, get out of the way, like.
What do you think corrupted that?
I don't know I don't know. It's like, I remember there was that was always like a cool line in this. There was a Neil Young song, and I always remember.
Hey, my.
Oh, I mean, I fucking love that song.
That song,
dude. That's like the dopest. That.
No.
Dude, that's one of the heaviest songs ever. The fucking guitar in that.
Listen to it every day.
It's a great song. But no, this is like one song where he had this line, and it was like, it's like, well, the older generation, they got something to say, but they better say it fast or get out of the way, you know?
Ooh.
And I was thinking, like, that's so true. And it reminds me, like, there's a Bob Dylan song like that, too. Like, don't stand in the doorway, don't block up the hall. Like, it's kind of like, yeah, like, if you're older, you still have wisdom, but also, like, the younger people they're gonna take over, they're gonna fucking.
Yes.
But I feel like as younger people, we should, like, respect and listen to older people.
I think yes, when they have a positive message.
Yeah.
I think that the reason it's natural. It's
Sometimes
natural for
they
human
can
evolution.
stall progress, though, right? Because they're holding on to their old ways.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to bring up, right?
Yeah.
Ideas that are old that should not be here anymore.
Right.
Racism, right? That's
100%.
That's something that's passed. Hatred is taught, right? You pass it from generation to generation. Now, I'm not saying that it's just white people who are racist, because that is just insanity to say that.
Right.
There's black race. There's a lot of racism normally, and to say that racism belongs to one skin color is racist in itself. To say that, right? Everybody has the ability to have darkness and light.
You actually have unique viewpoints on that, and you're like, I always appreciate that you say what you believe on that shit.
Well, I try to look at things from a standpoint of, am I going to help or hinder this situation? If I lie and say, yeah, all white people are racist for sure, bro.
Well,
then my mom, it must be like, I don't know what, like what?
Well, it goes back to you're putting everybody in these boxes and labels again.
Yeah, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're doing the same thing.
Pretty much, man. So that's one of the old ideas that we could get rid of. I think that
100%.
Like, we can get rid of that idea. Sweeping things under the rug is something that I hate. My family and families around me, if you're listening to this, I wanted to let you know I'm talking directly about you. So it is really important to let go of the preconceived notion that as a son, a daughter, a cousin, an aunt, a mom, an uncle, whatever, you need to sweep anything under the rug. And that doesn't mean just the creepy uncle, because the idea that it's called a creepy uncle instead of a pedophile or a predator shows that you're failing as a family.
That's really fucked up. Like,
shows
in
that
the
you're
old
failing as
days,
a family.
like in the old days, that was what they would do. Like, just keep the kids away from Uncle, what's his name?
No, how about you?
Instead of like he's
I don't
like,
want to be violent. Sorry.
Well, instead of like he goes to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
That is a fucked up thing. Or like, man. Or like the priests and shit, dude. Like, that's some weird shit.
It's all bad.
You just sweep that shit under the rug.
It's horrible. Like, who does that hurt? You as a human being, because you're settling for another person's pain.
Yeah.
And their violation. But they're not the only, older people aren't the only people who have bad ideas. As the youth, I think they can really come from a good standpoint of what can we not do that the youth is doing right now. Spending all their time like this.
And then that's brainwashing them
and
too.
Look up.
Yeah.
Like this conversation we're having right now, you know so many things that I have no idea about, right?
Same with you. It's like, it's crazy actually. If you think about like the vastness. So like when we get together, we share like this, little bit of stuff with each other. We can learn a little bit about each other. But like, if you think about the vastness of like knowledge in both of our brains that we'll never be able to really communicate with each other. That's what's so cool about human beings. Every one of them is just this like world of like fucking inside their head. It's like, it's amazing actually.
Yes, brother.
Yeah.
And I think the more people that we touch and we're exposed to, not necessarily physically touch, but also just touch with our hearts, our energy, our conversation, mostly our minds. Like the more people we touch with our minds, we can take a little bit of them, a little bit of this person, a little bit of this person, and we can decide now who we want to be. We don't get that idea if we
I'm
stick
big
with this.
on that.
If we stick, 100%. If we stick with the same demographic of people, with the same ideology, with the same message, with the same box that they all want to be put in, we are going to fail.
Right.
And that's where the future generation can stop immediately. They need to stop settling for someone else putting them in a box.
Right.
When I grew up, if you weren't an individual, people encouraged you to. That was a good generation in the 90s.
I feel like there's a push against individuality right now.
I think it's a
or
major
the
push.
idea that it seems like the idea that like the American ideal of like, you know, the rugged individualism or like the you having autonomy of, you know, like it seems like there is kind of this weird like they lump that in as like some evil right wing thing or like
Yes, well, when you sweep shit under the rug
like,
for like year after year after year after year, going against the grain seems like a really piss poor idea. So what we have right now are a lot of young generations walking into years of keep it quiet, go with the flow.
Right.
There's a really
well, that's
awesome
not a good thing, dude. Like
It's all bad,
like,
bro.
You think about abuse in families where like somebody in the family knows it's going on, but they just don't want to upset the normal order of things.
Fuck the order.
Like you even hear that with like moms that like know the dad was like abusing the daughter or something, and they don't say anything for years. Like imagine, you know, and then of course the daughter's gonna hate the mom someday for that. Like
yes.
it's like it's fucked up.
Don't stand idly by and call yourself an innocent bystander on some things. There's some situations where you need to let situations play out. I'm not
Right, or it's not even your fucking business.
Yes,
you know
I'm
what
not dealing in absolution and saying everything.
Right.
There's this great song that this conversation reminds me of, man. It's called, I think it's called "You're Not My Mama's Broken Heart." It's talking about a young lady who got her heart broken, and mom's like, "Here, chill out. Don't make a big deal about this." And she's like, "I'm gonna just burn this shit down."
Yeah.
And there's a phrase in there. My mama came from a softer generation where you fix your lip. No, you bite your lip and something just to save a little face.
Right.
That is perfectly describing the idea of this act of cowardice that comes with.
Well, this goes into like the whole Me Too movement and stuff too, dude. Like think of how much that took for a lot of these women to, you know, like the Harvey Weinstein thing. And like there's so a lot of like that's another thing we need to get rid of is like the idea that women aren't human beings. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like,
brother.
So racism's out. We should get rid of like view women as fucking equal people.
As alphas.
Obviously they're different than men. Men and women are different, but women are equally, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like there was this old idea like they're like this object of yours. You know what I mean? That you own or something.
Yes.
And I don't like that. I like more of a partnership type of thing. You're like,
how many great women would there be in the history books in spots where there isn't right now if that man who called his partner his wife would have supported her dreams, her aspiration, her goals.
Right.
I want to be that for my partner, right? That is
like
100%
you grow
my
together,
goal.
right? It's not like you don't stop one of you. Like you don't say, well, my dreams are important. You support me. You stop your dream, right? It's like
you can do both.
Yeah.
It's overwhelmingly exerting, and it's hard. I can say that now with ultimate
sometimes a
confidence,
partner
though.
probably does take on more of the supportive role, and that's
Yes.
fine too if that's what they're into.
Well, that's what a partner's
You know what I'm
for, right?
saying? Yeah.
I wish I supported my wife like she supports me. I can say right now that I've done a horrible job of that in the past, and I want to be better.
Right.
But man,
But at least you're self-aware of it, you know. Like,
yeah, definitely, man.
but there's like just so many different kinds of relationships, so it's like, you know. So, but yeah, like my ideal one is like I want, you know, both people in the relationship to, you know, have their own life and their own dreams, but you just like grow together type of thing. I don't know.
What? Yeah. What? Well, you know what? You probably got some people who listen in here just to find out what you are looking for in a relationship. So why don't
It's
you air
on
it
my
out, dude?
it's on my Tinder, dude.
It's
know,
on your
I'm just kidding.
Tinder. Play.
I was gonna try Bumble, but they don't let me put shirtless selfies up there. So I'm like, well, I don't know about that.
You should be proud of yourself. You're proud of your hard work that you put into the idea of there should not be a single human being on this earth that denounces the idea that it's good to feel like you're sexually attractive, or everyone should aspire to be the best, sexiest version of themselves. They should aspire to have the best sex possible.
That's kind of viewed as
all
like
these things.
intimidating or something. I think so. Bumble's thing is like being less intimidating to women or something. So like they don't let you do that. But it's funny because then you see girls like half naked on there almost.
They're proud of thetheir bodies. Yeah. Guys should be proud of their shirt. I'm here for equality, okay? And I'm standing up right here, right now. Let him take his shirt off.
Right, yeah. But Tinder lets you do it, but I don't know. Those apps I'm kind of like obviously right now I'm training for the show, so I'm like none of that stuff, you know? Mm-hmm. Like it's weird because like when you're leading up to a show, for me, you got to go like no sex, no, nothing.
Sex is really good for you.
Well, it is really good for you, 100%. It's just like when I'm so focused on the show, I feel like I got to cut it out. It's like that line in Rocky where he's like, women weaken legs, Like,
I feel what you're saying, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I really do encourage you to stay on whatever goal, whatever you feel like you need to do to achieve your goal right now. For everybody, do it. Right? Yeah. No, whatever you choose on your path to your goal right now, do it. Because that's your brain telling you, that's your goal telling you, it's your mind telling you what you need checked in the box for you to feel stress-free.
Oh,
that was awesome.
I don't know what that was.
That was a little shift.
Something just fell. Yeah.
If you're trying to break into the podcast, you will be shot.
Yeah.
Okay, just pause it if someone pops out.
We're good.
I'm gonna blast them. All right.
It was just a ghost or something, dude.
Just a ghost.
No, he was in here moving shit around earlier, so it could have been just something that fell over. But
oh man, I love it.
A lot of projects going on around here, so
yeah, I love it, dude. Yeah. I love it. I absolutely.
Dude, they cleaned out so much stuff from this house. It was crazy.
Oh man, I can imagine ripping out everything.
Ripped out everything. They had like people come and like do the crawl spaces and everything, get all the rats out and shit, and like. All that wild shit.
Good. You never know what's going on around or under your house until you rate it.
Right. You got to do it because it's like it's been like, sitting here for like 20 years, like with no work done to it. So it's like, yeah, you got to do all that shit.
Yeah, 100%, man. Well, speaking of work done, I want to acknowledge somebody super special.
Yeah, let's hear it. Dude.
I don't get to do it enough. I don't give people enough credit where it's due. There's this super powerful human being in my life. I've known him for quite a few years. He was in the hair industry when my dad was in the hair industry. He's one of the founders of Chop It Up Barbershop,
right?
All up and down this region, and he also wrote a book. Man, tip the scales. Merv Miller is a complete badass.
Yeah,
he's an entrepreneur. He's a successful black man, and that's something I'm super excited to say. I don't want to put him in a box, but like that's one thing I don't have enough successful black people to look up to as a human being for me personally in my life. So that's one thing I can say that makes me gravitate towards him. But ultimately, his idea, his book, when I read it, I didn't know that I was going to get into such an exciting part of my life. Reading his book is something I frequently go back to, and I open it up. I'm gonna have to bring it by for you to read, man, because
I would love to, dude.
It's
I love
super
reading.
Awesome. It's super awesome, man. And he also has his own vodka line. And guess what? I actually picked some up on the way here. So Zawadi Vodka. It's made in America right here.
No shit.
By people that I actually know. And I want to know if you want just a little sip. You don't have got to pour it a bunch up. Just a little bit. I know you're in your prep, but I just want you to taste it, man, because this stuff is absolutely amazing, dude. I can never do these. Can you do these?
Yes, I can.
My hands are all jacked up. I had to cut my nails down for jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah. I want to hear about jiu-jitsu, too. So, like, when did you start?
Well, I wanted to start last year. I ended up tearing my shoulder before I was able to do it. I had to do...
And how's your shoulder now?
Now the shoulder is stronger. It's still slightly debilitated, unfortunately. I don't have certain movements. I can't put any more than like 10 pounds of pressure on.
That smells really
good. Yeah. It's the best vodka I've ever had, and you can drink it straight. You can drink it on the rocks. Different flavors. For every little bit. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. But jiu-jitsu's been going pretty good, dude. I never expected to.
Well, it's good vodka if you can drink it straight because vodka's a mixing thing.
Yeah, and I'm picky too. And I'm picky when it comes to.
I had a client today, and he's like, "Oh, I'm drinking too much beer, but I like to drink." I was like, "Bro, just do that skinny girl shit. Vodka sodas with lime.
With lime. That's right,
That's
man.
How you do it.
Well, cheers
to
cheers, man.
To
your
cheers
health,
to
man.
You. Cheers to what is this? Your third or fourth time on here?
Third time,
man.
With the fourth one, I want to bring some people with me.
Okay, I'm down.
Yeah, we'll tear it up. Cheers.
That's actually delicious straight.
Dude,
wow.
It is so good.
I don't think I've ever actually had vodka that's good straight.
Well, I love this. I love it. It says taste is a gift. And I'm going to talk about
I'm actually serious. It's like good.
It's really good, right? So Zawadi Vodka, if you're watching, go find it. I don't care where you're at. Go find Someone's Body Vodka. It's 40% alcohol, 80 proof, right? Really nice bottle, obviously. There's my favorite part about this is the name of it, the label, the slogan or whatever. Taste is a gift. This is like a really, really good thing, and I want to probably buy this as Christmas presents for some of my friends who aren't like super close to me, but I still care about them. You know what I'm saying? Because this stuff is so good.
If you put that with like some muddled lime and some ice, and you just drink it straight, dude, like that is fucking good.
And as it chills, it becomes smoother and smoother.
Yeah.
And he does a really good job. It's made from mostly all natural.
There was
additives,
no
I'm pretty
like
sure.
no cough or anything either. It's so smooth. It
no,
was
smooth.
Like,
It's great, man.
yeah, that's really good, man.
Yeah, but I brought that for you, and I just wanted you to try it before you keep it.
Next
Because
time
if you don't
come
like
on,
it, I'm taking it
getting
home.
you some kind of amazing gift. I'm gonna figure something out. Something that I know you're gonna like, because you keep bringing me these awesome gifts, dude.
Well, you know, I'm gonna next time maybe I'll try. No, I was gonna make a gun joke, but I don't want to get locked up by the feds for trafficking gun parts or anything like
If you
that.
brought me a gun, I'd be like, shh, this is dope.
Like, welcome to If I'll tell you
And
what,
then we'll
if
go
we
shoot
both
it.
move to Texas, I can
Yeah.
just go and acquire you a gun and get you a gun, and now it's your responsibility now.
So next week,
They hold people accountable for their actions in Texas.
you know the woman from the We the Female, right?
Dude, Carrie Sloan,
So
complete badass.
I'm not positive because we scheduled, so she's supposed to be here next Wednesday for a podcast, but I haven't been able to get a hold of her again. So we planned it. She said she was going to be back, and we put it in the schedule. But I haven't really. I still got to kind of like check up with her. I don't know if she's. So possibly next week she's going to be a guest, which I'm super excited about because I think that's actually
my
important.
God.
Like what she's doing, like empowering females instead of, you know what I'm saying? Like instead of like saying like I'm a victim, like
Yes.
taking power back. You know what I mean?
Take
Like,
your power back. You know, I
yeah.
say that to especially the ladies, but to anybody who's ever suffered any type of abuse or harassment, and you feel like your light is not as bright as it should be.
Yeah.
In any form, take back your power. You know,
It's like you shouldn't have to be scared to walk down the street. You shouldn't have to live in a world like that, but it's a reality. So if you can make yourself more capable of taking care of yourself, I feel like why not? We should, right?
hell yeah, brother.
So there's also like a lot of, you know, like you're talking about jujitsu. There's a lot of like these MMA gyms that do a lot of like, for female self-defense. I think
Yep.
it's huge.
Bellevue Police Department puts one on.
so
Craig
good,
Hanaumi does it. A couple Linwood Police Department ladies that I went to high school with. They're super awesome.
I feel like it's super important, man.
Absolutely.
You know, just making yourself capable. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I hate that victim shit. Like, just don't. I mean, obviously, I like I said, I wish the world was a place where like you could walk down the street and never be in danger, and there was no bad people, and there was no fucked up people. But that's just not the world we live in. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Especially in this region.
yeah,
And we have a major problem in this region. We have things that are horrible, egregious criminal acts that are not treated as criminal acts at all.
yeah, that's not good.
I have to deal with it almost every day with my career field. I have to work in the city of Seattle, and working there, I've had a few. I can't tell you how many run-ins I have with people a day with issues with people who are super jacked up on drugs, or people who coming down from drugs who are violent and angry and like literally just rocking around, just kicking the life out of some escalator because it's an escalator. And I
know.
Or people who attack others.
It's so wild, dude. So like, me and this girl that I work with, we went into Seattle. I went to Dazul Lounge, which I got this new tattoo, and he's gonna be a guest on here too soon. The artist that did it, I think he's amazing. But
Yeah, it looks great, man.
so we're like in Seattle, and like we're waiting to. I was on prep, so I couldn't eat anything, but she went down, and we got this like amazing like. Someday when I'm not on prep, I'm getting one too. It was like one of those like poke bowls, like protein and healthy shit.
Oh yeah.
So we went down and got her one of those, and we're like walking in the city, and we're like, man, this is so dope. Like, it's so cool being in the city. It's like got this cool vibe and stuff. And then we walk by, and there's like some dude, like homeless with like his pants pulled down, and he's like hunched over, like picking a scab on his leg, and just like totally out of it, And I'm like, yeah, and then there's that though. I forgot about that part of the city, like that's the bad part. And it's like, how
It's
do you
so
help
bad.
these people? I don't know. I feel like just leaving them on the street doesn't help them, does it? I mean,
I would say if anybody really wants to help what's going on in Seattle on the streets, because it's not just homeless people, it's a drug infested like shit can.
right.
If you really want to help them,
Because a lot of it's drugs.
fire the entire city council, fire the freaking mayor, the guy who got elected, get him out of here. Why haven't you changed anything that's going on in the streets? How come the police? How come the police are not arresting people for smoking fentanyl off foil all through the transit lines, all through the streets of Seattle, when kids are walking by breathing in something that could potentially end their life? I would
weird
think,
thing.
one would think it's bad. I have a great guy named Adam Fortney, amazing human being, Snohomish County Sheriff. He is pushing to criminalize fentanyl because why?
Well, so
it makes sense.
Well, it goes back to that thing of what you're talking about with lumping everybody, separating everybody into groups. So like they would say, well, that's racist, like it's
Maybe against anybody who breathes in a potentially fatal drug.
But I'm saying that's what they're doing. It's like so they say that these laws are going to be unfair towards minorities, or you know what I'm saying, like. But at the end,
maybe
of
in the past when the cops were targeting just black people,
100%.
I don't think they are anymore.
But if you think about people,
not targeting
like you
anybody.
said, like individuals, it's not about race or anything. It's about this person is doing an illegal thing. Let's get them off the street. Mm-hmm. And it's honestly like if you can get them off the street, it helps them more than leaving them on the street.
100%, and not just off the street, but off the street and into
Some kind of
rehab
program.
facilities.
That's where we need to be having our money put, right? Like,
Yes, brother.
some kind of like I know, like I
Don't get them clean needles. Get them treatment. But the question is this:
like
currently, as far as I know, there's no treatment for fentanyl. And the problem is this:
that's a
if
rough
you
drug,
fill up
man.
an elevator full of fentanyl, and you're smoking it in there, and I walk up because there's somebody, and I'm trying to fix the escalator or the elevator, but you've blocked the doors so the
so
elevator's
this
faulted
could
out.
kind of directly affect you because of your job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it does, right?
Yeah.
So they block the doors open, the elevator shut down. I walk over, and now I'm like, "Hey man, what the fuck are you doing?" And now they blow their smoke out that they're smoking still, fentanyl, these cheap ass pills, and they're blowing it at me.
'Cause they're
how
pissed at you,
how
yeah.
do I, as a human being with a wife who I love more than anything on this earth, how do I remain nonviolent?
That would be tough. I would want to fucking.
But I have
kill
to
them.
do it, man.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. I wish.
I would literally want to punch them so bad, like.
And
if
I'm
you
not
just
gonna.
blew
I'm not gonna
smoke in
say
my
I haven't.
Fucking face, like fuck you,
Dude, I'm not gonna say I haven't done violent acts on behalf of a potentially murderous thing coming at me.
Right.
But you know what? And I'm not gonna incriminate myself as well. And I don't want to. I'm not gonna jeopardize my
We're not
job.
gonna talk about it,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna say where I work, but I work all over the place, and it's really hard for me to grasp the idea of that being okay when little kids and people in wheelchairs and people who are blind use elevators. So now you're having any human being walk into the elevator, breathe in the stuff, and then what happens?
Well, and that kind of
It's a
goes
mess.
that goes with addiction and drugs. Like when you're somebody that's caught up in those, like you're not thinking of anybody else but
No,
yourself, you
no,
know?
and it overall.
So they're
it's
not
really
thinking
sad.
about the other people that they're affecting. It's like, it's the same thing. Like it's somebody on drugs, like they're gonna steal their parents' money, and like
It's sad,
it's
man.
sad. It's sad.
And it breaks my heart, man. It's hard to just have anger. I have mostly sadness for that situation, but I don't have any sadness when I'm watching little girls get Narcaned multiple times because it's not working, or when I have to smell it all day, and then and now I'm pissed off the whole day at work, or
Well, then you wonder, like, am I ingesting
security, and they
somebody's
blow it
shit?
at the
Like,
security guard or the janitor lady or at innocent people walking by as a joke. Like this is a joke to them. It's
That's
a
like-
subhuman world out there. So I would say if you go to 3rd Avenue, right where the McDonald's is, 3rd and Pike, and you just walk down 3rd Avenue, and you're gonna smell burnt peanut butter, burnt rubber, and burnt plastic. Those three smells, and those are potentially fatal in things to inhale.
Well, and it is a joke to them because they're so disconnected from the idea of like anybody else, any kind of community sense. Like the entire, like to them, life is a fucking joke. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because you get that, like, I don't know, disenfranchised with life in general, where like you're gonna put yourself, you don't care about yourself, you don't care about anything. Like life has done you wrong. It's yeah. So they're not
They're
thinking
like
of,
creating a subhuman race out there.
yeah, they're not thinking of anybody else.
No, they don't care about other human beings, and it's sad.
And
It
even the
breaks my
fact
heart.
that they see you caring to them is laughable.
Yes,
So like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're like, why don't you see that this whole thing is a fucking joke? But because you actually care about people, you care about others, you care about like yourself, they'll look at that as a joke. You know what I'm saying? And that's fucked up.
there was that you seen the video of the lady got thrown down. I think got thrown down steps at one of the at an unnamed location in Seattle.
Yeah.
This guy, the city is paying him because he is mentally insane and there's no mental institutions. The city of Seattle.
Dude, I hear a lot
After
of
he
weird stories.
tossed
like,
a lady not once but twice down 2 flights of stairs.
and he's getting paid.
And
yeah,
he's
I
getting
heard
paid
this
by the
weird,
city. What the hell is going on? That money could replace books for children. You know, I think we have a big issue with people remaining in office, and I try not to get on my political stuff, but
Dude.
this isn't political. This is a human being issue. We have people who are in office for way too long. What the fuck is a career politician?
Wow, that's a big,
Someone who is not associated with you or me.
yeah,
and
they're,
that's a
they're
problem.
not about us, dude. So that I heard this story of like it was like I can't remember if it was California or Oregon or someplace like where they probably they're loose on these kind of laws like you're talking about, where they're just not prosecuting people because it might be racist or it might be this or it might. So like there was this guy that like came and shot this other guy. The guy who he shot was able to get the gun away from him and shoot him back and get him under control. And so they're both down. So they arrest the guy who got attacked for shooting the other guy. And it's like, wait, you're arresting for having unlawful possession of a gun. It's like, no, that guy shot him, and in self-defense, he got the gun away and shot him back. Like, that's his right to defend himself. He should not be going to jail, right?
What if, just a guess,
Yeah.
a guess. What if good things just happen and bad things are somebody's fault?
Yeah.
What if good things just happen and bad things are somebody's fault? Not the right person's fault, somebody's fault.
Yeah.
Placing blame is what authoritarian figures love to do. They like, oh, look at what's going on over here. You know, this isn't us doing this. Who's elected to represent you, and who all I just do is argue with people with an R or D next to their name.
Right.
It's this person's fault. You know, I'm disenfranchised completely from this for this individual. It's them. Look at over here. Like gaslighting multiple situations, political, just complete dysfunction.
Yeah.
We do not need politicians. We need elected individuals who lead. I don't need somebody with a megaphone to yell and in the streets and just protest and not do anything when it's time. I need an elected representative to say, what do you like? Okay. What do you need? Okay. What do you need? Okay.
Well, that actually care about people again. It's
and
not,
present the idea.
But I think it's kind of what you said about absolute power corrupts. So it's like, I think that whole system is so corrupted with money that it's just so far from like what it's meant to be that I don't even know how you fix it, right?
Mm-hmm. And then someone has the audacity to say I have vaccine hesitancy.
Yeah, that would get you
Like we live in a capitalist society. We have pharmaceutical industries. We have the government saying this, big pharma saying this. There's a lot of money, a lot of money getting made, and you're mad at me because I'm hesitant. Of something.
And it was weird.
They haven't even had 5-year studies out yet. Can I just wait for 5-year studies?
Yeah,
they
like,
were freaking out on me, bro. Like,
all the literature was coming from where? Big pharma. So like it's like how do you trust it when like
and they told me I got called an anti-vaxxing Trumper, and I'm like, what the fuck? First, what is a Trumper? First of all,
well, also that's kind of like even like people are so pissed off about this like Trump being on CNN thing, and it's like I get this email from like these Democrat groups, and it's like, this is an outrage. We need to stop them. They're platforming Donald Trump. I'm like, no. I'm like, it's called freedom of speech. You can hate everything that Trump says, but he should be allowed to have a platform to say what he wants to say. Like you can't, what you're talking about as a Democrat is called censorship. And I was so enraged when I got this email. I'm like, from the party
who
who politically is supposed to be the biggest advocate for freedom of speech. When I grew up, if you were liberal, it meant you believed in freedom of fucking speech. That meant even if the KKK wanted to say some shit, even if you found it disgusting, you would the ACLU fought for their right to say it, even though they disagreed with it, because that's what freedom of fucking speech means. And now I'm getting this email that you want to censor Donald Trump, and you want, like, what you do is you don't censor him. You listen to the whole fucking thing. You watch what he says, and you come back and you're like, this was a lie. This was a lie. What he said here was bullshit. You don't stop him from saying it. You fight against what he fucking said with your free speech.
Yes, brother.
That's what you do. Dude, that kind of shit pisses me off to like no end.
Well, because it removes your option as a recipient of information, right?
And it removes the exchange of free ideas.
Yes.
And it gives who the power? The government.
It controls a certain narrative. If I tell you the sky is blue and this guy over here says, you know what, I say it's kind of great, and I punch him in the face and don't let him finish, and I say the sky is blue, and you only listen to me.
Right.
And you don't go check for yourself.
Yeah.
You are now under my direct control.
I just take your word for it.
Yeah. Now you're under my
control.
control.
I'm in this cave and you come in and tell me it's beautiful outside. And yes, I get it.
Yes.
It's horrible, dude. It's like it's the least fucking like liberal thing you can fucking do. And it's like, I don't understand how liberals are fucking advocating for it. And they do it under the guise of this fucking like, it's disinformation or misinformation. It's like, it could be, but that's what freedom of speech is. And then you say the truth. You fight against it.
We used to have debates.
Like Eddie's out there saying lies, and I don't like it. My thing isn't to shut Eddie up. It's to go on and say, actually, what he's saying is completely a lie. This is what I believe. You can listen to him or you can listen to me, but here's the facts. This is what I say. Like, I don't know, dude.
We don't encourage free thinkers anymore, and this is something that I think that we give me hope about the future. Mm-hmm. There's 11-year-old kids questioning their teachers' ideology because they're introducing certain political narratives and certain health-related narratives in schools, and the kids are like, wait a second, you can't tell me this. I'm a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I have parents. You can't tell me this.
Well, and hopefully their parents are, like, dude, to me, the thing I hate the most is authoritarianism.
Yes, brother.
I'm just so not for that.
You know what's scary? Like, what I hate? I hate Nazis. I hate communism. Yeah. I hate the effects of socialism on the people who, believe it or not, it's not an equal playing field. It's people on the lower end. I would love to get my buddy who he was in Iran, and he got over here. And if he was able to make it through the conversation without falling apart and express his story to you, you will freak out, man.
Dude, that'd be a great guess.
We don't have enough perspective in America from people who are from these horrible countries where it's war torn.
Oh yeah, every time.
Why is Jorge Masvidal coming and talking about his country? Because it's bad. He came here for a reason. Like I think it's beautiful that I can say that I have a friend who got on a freaking on something that floated his way to America. He almost died. He was out at sea with his food for 6 days, and he made it here. That's his dad, and that's his dad. That's his hero who gave him a better life.
Right.
Like, we have something here special where we can speak. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Don't hang up a picture of Kim Jong-un in your country and see how well that goes.
You know, it's so wild because every guest I've had on here who's been from a different country will tell me that. They're like, you don't understand how fucking lucky you guys are here.
We have running water here. And that's huge.
They all get it. Like, they get horrified when you start talking about communism and stuff, dude. Like, and it's like, I don't know. Like, we don't want to lose our freedom.
No, brother.
Yeah. So, like, and you lose it by, like, you give up your freedom for protection. So they have to, like, scare you somehow. And then you give it up because you want... It's just a slippery slope. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, brother.
Yeah.
Do you think I think you brought it up well when you said stop when we have to stop as human beings, stop being the victim, and that branches out for more than just superstar, amazing human beings that are domestic violence survivors. They're not, and I say survivors for a reason. When you are a victim of a situation, you're a victim of a situation.
You are a victim.
The second you start I think this is my perspective, right? Because domestic violence comes in many forms. When you are in the process of healing from that, and you say, you know what? Damn it, I'm still here. I'm alive. I have power. And now you're starting to develop the survivor mindset, right. And then you become At certain levels, some people just become just themselves. Other people carry that with them, and it reminds them of the lowest part of their life, so they can be great in their own way. I think it's amazing what Carrie Sloan's done. She takes the idea of going through so much and finding power in your hardship, become a harder motherfucker in all intents and purposes, and taking your responsibility, your safety in your own hands. Because I have a friend who I had on my podcast. She came on to share her story. The cops failed her. They let her fucking abuse her back in the house the same minute they left. They said, no, he's just going to come back and get some of his stuff. Bam, she's getting the shit whooped out of her again when she finally had the courage to call the cops. The judge dismissed it because the family came and said, my son would never beat the living shit out of another person in the military. Surprise, they did. Mm-hmm. He did. And
But
dude,
no, people didn't want
people
to believe
fail.
it.
People
didn't
fail.
want to believe it.
The sense of safety, the safety net, when you dial 911, I hate to be that guy, but you might not always like what shows up afterwards.
Right.
You know what? We've talked about it for years in this country. I was told I have to act differently around the police.
Right.
I don't act differently around the police. The police don't act differently around me.
Yeah.
When I call the cops and they show up and it's great. When they don't show up and I deal with things on my own, it's great. Whatever. Because I have my own individual responsibility. I'm responsible with firearm ownership. I don't drink and carry firearms. Nothing irresponsible about firearm ownership at all. Because if you own a firearm, you're not going in to shoot up a school full of kids. My guns are not going to commit a mass shooting.
Right.
My guns are going to not do shit unless I'm shooting target practice or I have to use them in a self-defense related issue. Now, education is a big part of that, right? So when it comes to education, I do encourage anyone who even thinks about getting a pistol to educate yourself. A great way to start, a bunch of free videos on YouTube by USCCA. How to start your self-defense journey? Watch the Tim Kennedy USCCA videos and learn about
Tim
that.
Kennedy is great, dude. 100%.
But individual responsibility is huge, man. And you hit it right on the head of the nail when you said that take it in your own life.
Right.
And that goes for information as well. Taking power of your life is a critical component of being a human being.
Yeah, it's like we're living in this world where we want to like child-proof everything. Like it's like this. It's like we feel like we're this nation of like children that need to be like coddled and protected, instead of a nation of individual adults that have, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we should have that idea anymore. Like, we need to change this narrative of like that we're these helpless fucking like man babies that never grew up, and we need to be protected from every. You know what I'm saying? We need to. I feel like we need a shift in our country.
Well, we wonder why we have a lot of mental health issues that we weren't having previously. Well, I mean, because
you take away all purpose. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
purpose.
There's no if you're just sitting around, you have no value in your life. You just play video games, you eat shit, you drink all the time, you jerk off to porn, you don't have any fucking like actual goals or purpose in your life. You're going to fucking have mental health problems. And then you know what you're going to do? You're going to hate on people that do have goals and are working hard, and you're going to try to fucking, you know what I'm saying? That's what like the world is full of those kind of people now. And so of course they're so easy to get them to like, you know what, we need to do this and we need to do this and we should, because they have no fucking goals. They have no like.
You want other people to conform to your comfort levels, and that's unhealthy. Greg Plitt said it best, man. Safety zones and comfort zones are dead zones. You do not want to. You're not going to ever find anything that equates to your version of success in a safety zone. You have to do something uncomfortable.
They want everybody to come and be a slug with them, basically.
And that's bad. And that's like, a bottom feeder shit. That's flounder fish shit. That's tilapia. Okay, that's tilapia instead of.
Dude, sometimes I eat some tilapia, but yeah, it ain't the best fish.
It ain't the best fish. Okay,
nah.
Would you rather
up the house?
And my question for people is this, right? Would you rather have watered down whiskey or normal whiskey when you drink whiskey?
I mean, I'd rather you have it like normal. Yeah.
Good sex or great sex?
Great sex.
Good sleep or shitty sleep?
You need great sleep.
I mean, it's a pretty easy decision. You can take the path of least resistance and have a mediocre life where you don't really achieve your version of success. Right. I don't want to get twisted. I want everyone to reach their own peak on their own mountain.
Well, yeah, because like I don't want people to think like there's a lot of people that are happy-go-lucky, easygoing. They're chill people. They don't have a lot of goals and they're happy.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at
But
all.
I'm saying I think personally a lot of people end up being depressed because of that, because they don't have purpose.
And it's very, very important that people find their purpose.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the veteran world, man.
Like if you're just chill and you're lazy and you just but you're like a happy person. I love people like that, dude. You know, as long as you're not like hating on other people who are trying to be successful or have goals. You know, that's what I'm saying. There's a difference, right?
Yes, brother.
I know chill people, it's like they don't want to achieve anything great. They're just happy being kind of chill here and they vibe. I have so many friends like that I absolutely love. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I feel like everybody has to be some like David Goggins or something.
Oh, definitely not.
Like I like a world of variety for sure, you know, like
In any form of an extreme, especially like bodybuilding, like you can definitely attest to this. We often judge ourselves on this, dude, on this needle in a haystack with another needle stacked on top of it. That's how we judge ourselves by, are we hitting this exact pinpoint?
we all want to be Chris Bumstead.
We all want to be the elite.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have huge goals because when you shoot for the stars, you're probably going to end up in a cloud at least.
I feel like it's good to have ideals.
Yes.
And you're not everybody. So like, there's going to be the ideal, the best. And that's like what you want to try to achieve. But like, even that person probably is feeling like they're not quite achieving it. But we have to have something to look up to. But then you're going to have outliers that don't want to be like that or they aren't trying. And there has to be that whole spectrum. But if you take away the ideal, we got to have the ideals. You know what I'm saying? Like the ideal, like family, the ideal, you know, like something to like try to achieve, to be like, you know what I'm saying? And not everybody has to fit that mold. Like there's room for every kind of different person, right?
100%, man. I think that's something that I've tried to work on in my later years in life. When I was young, I really didn't understand the importance of
you're super
self-gratitude.
accepting of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Which is so cool. Because that's another thing, people will stereotype people. You know what I'm saying? They'll like stereotype, oh, he's a gun owner, he's this or that, he must be fucking... You know,
I practice not dying very, very often, and I practice not letting other people die around me in mass shootings very, very often. I practice reloading my gun from behind cover and
for
exposed.
so many different kinds of people.
I have a love for everybody, and
Yes.
I can say this with full confidence. I don't give a shit who you have sex with, who you pray to, who you come home to at night.
Right, what religion.
No religion, who you pray. None. I don't care any of that. I don't care, especially not your skin color. I think it's important that we have a melting pot because in the military, you have a melting pot in the military. I don't know how racism is a thing in the military. There's so many diverse.
I just love every kind of people.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that's what's so cool about life. You get to meet so many different kinds of people, right?
God, man.
Like I would hate living in a world where literally everybody's the same.
I fear that the more we conform to what's told is the truth, instead of looking for individuality on our own, the closer we get to that. And I say that because when you look at not just the news, they have, ever seen those videos? And I know that so many people who are listening are going to see, understand what I'm talking about. There's that video of one box of a news guy, and then it switches to a different box of a news guy, and then you see a bunch of news channels saying the exact same scripted shit.
Oh yeah.
On
it's like, where did that come from? It's coming.
Is
from
this
somebody.
the fucking Matrix or something? No, it's called a controlled narrative.
Yes, it's propaganda.
It's propaganda, and it's scary to think that. Like for a lot of us, we're all in this bubble of disbelief. There's no way that the government will ever get to a point where it's going to tell us what we need to think, how we need to live, they've been doing it.
Well,
they were doing it. It was literally a law that black people could.
You got independent.
Do we really got to go into this? It's the truth. Okay.
No. It's like you got these independent journalists right now that are talking about this. Like all these governments are trying to put these new laws in place to fight misinformation online. But what it really is they want to be able to control the entire.
When someone says misinformation, they sound like a fucking government hack.
Yeah,
you sound like you work for the fucking. You sound like you work for the Soviet Union, and you're trying to convince me that America is not here to help other people or something like that.
Right. What it means is anything that I don't like, I'm gonna label it as misinformation.
Oh God, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
I think you saying that is misinformation, honestly, because it's not what the news says. So
yeah. So don't listen to me. Listen to the news, bro.
I'm just gonna watch people who get paid for their viewership, and as far as advertisement goes.
Right. Watch people that get paid by the biggest, corporations and have big money going into them, and listen to them because they definitely have your best interests at heart. They're not doing that for the people that are paying them.
That's right.
They definitely care about you.
Yes.
You know,
Anderson Cooper is my grandfather.
You know, and I do like Anderson Cooper, but like, yeah, they're just all compromised.
I think they're great. I think when you ask me who my favorite person on the news would be, I would say I have a lot of favorite actors on the news.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I just don't watch the news anymore, man.
Well,
I
I
think
can't
it's a
trust
bad
the news.
idea.
Dude, I love Bill Maher's show. Absolutely love Bill Maher.
Yeah.
I love John Oliver's show. That dude's fucking great.
Do you like Tim Pool?
I do like Tim Pool. I don't always agree with him.
I definitely don't always agree
He's
with
kind
that
of a little
motherfucker.
cunt sometimes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Sometimes I'm just like,
You know
dude.
what I'm saying? Like,
dude.
But I appreciate
But then
what
I
he's
remember,
out
like,
there
it's
doing.
his perspective. It's his
Yeah.
perspective, though. I'm not supposed to appreciate everyone's perspective because we can't be living in a free-thinking society where we share ideas and sync up with another human being. Like right now, you could at any moment you could say, "Dude, you're full of shit," and I'm gonna be like, "What do you mean?" And you're gonna explain how I'm full of shit. I'm like, "Oh fuck, I'm full of shit."
Right.
Or I'm look it up. Maybe I should do some fact checking on my own instead of the news.
Well, they always say a wise man appreciates when someone corrects him.
Always.
You know what I'm saying? So I also like I really like Charlemagne. Like he's always fucking saying what he believes, even if you know what I'm saying. Like
Against the grain because
against
it's
the grain.
strong in his beliefs, but willing to hopefully accept change.
Yeah. And then I really like it's a breaking points with Crystal and Sagar. So Crystal Ball and Sagar and Jetty, they do a show where he is more of a right-leaning guy, conservative, and she is more of a liberal. And so they do the show together to show that it is possible to have the two perspectives. And they cut through all the bullshit in the news and they just report actual facts. You know what I'm saying?
I think I've watched them.
Dude,
I really enjoy it.
fucking
They're
good.
so cool. They're so good at it.
They're very good. I think they're going to really, you know, when they're building this huge new studio, I think like these independent, you know, and then you have the Matt Taibbi's and the Michael Schellenbergers, the ones that got to do the Twitter file thing. And they're the ones that are, you know, fighting against censorship right now. I think these are the people that are probably going to be the most trusted because they're like actual journalists. Because it's hard to call anybody on, you know, Fox News or CNN or any kind of thing that's paid by advertising journalists anymore.
No, hell no.
Because like you said, they all have that fucking like, oh, they're all saying the same exact thing. So there's no, they're just like repeating this line that's been given to them from somewhere up. Like even like when Fox News got busted for this Dominion shit, you see like everything they are saying is like super planned out. And then like the whole Tucker Carlson getting fired thing. Because he was not going along with the shit they wanted him to say, you know, like.
I mean, he went along with it for a while. I wish he didn't. When we look at objectively at different human beings and entities that should speak their own thing, I can't remember the name of that Don Lennon, right? What happened? What would happen if
Don Lemon?
What would happen if he spoke his own mind instead of what he was paid to say?
He'd probably be
fired.
cool.
He'd be fired on the spot, and he'd probably just be a normal human being, just like the rest of us. But this is the issue we have in our country with people who are getting a lot of attention. They usually sell a piece of their soul or a piece of themselves, sacrifice who they are as a human being,
right, to
fit a certain narrative or to get in with the cool kids. And I think it's a very dangerous thing, especially for money. You know, selling yourself, when you put yourself up as a prostitute and you give up your beliefs, your internal beliefs,
it's hard.
That's not good, man.
It's not good for your soul.
It's not good for your soul.
I can see how it happens though. Like you think about it, like you're an actor, you know, and most of Hollywood is thinking a certain way.
Everyone's saying Trump's bad, and you just get on there.
You
wouldn't believe what he said to me last week.
No, it's true, dude. Like it's easy to get caught up because like you don't want to lose your gig, you know, like you don't want to. That's like
it's almost like you're afraid to get censored or
being
canceled.
able to fucking say what you actually think is probably one of the most rare like privileges you can have if you can get away with it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh man,
especially nowadays, it's like. Yeah.
I say, well, you know what? I'm gonna be honest, and I try to avoid saying this, but being half black and half white does have its benefits, right? When it comes to I've been treated differently because of my skin color. I can talk on things that are black issues and white issues and bring a different perspective and confront a lot of bullshit out there.
Yes.
I like a lot of it. Like it's one of my favorite things to do is to stand up against injustice and speak up for people who don't have a voice.
Yep.
It really bothers me when people try to censor a certain demographic just because of their fucking skin color. Like my mom's white, my wife's white, my dad's black, my grandpa was a Black Panther. Other side, wouldn't even hold me as a child because of my fucking skin color.
I remember you said that.
So,
It
like,
was one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard.
it's a huge melting pot, and
Yeah,
and
that
I
was
still, dude, it's still hard for me to even stomach that idea.
That was your grandma, right?
Yeah,
And
grandma
I was like, fuck your grandma.
wouldn't even fucking hold me. Like, can
Yeah.
you imagine? Oh,
I mean,
here's
I
this
kinda
baby.
can, dude,
Get
'cause,
this
like-
get this mud demon out of here.
Like, I grew up in a small fucking town. I actually can imagine that, which is fucked up, you know, like.
Well, you know, like I said, hatred is taught, man.
But
And-
most of the time, it's like one of those things where like you'll have these like racist white people, but then like once they see the baby, all of a sudden they're just fucking not racist anymore. Oh, yeah. You know, that is a cure. That is like a thing. Obviously, it didn't work for your grandma. She's still just a
she's still a
fucked up,
fucking
racist,
loser,
crazy person. But
yeah,
but
bye.
I've seen that before, where people like all of a sudden they're just like it changes them because they see this beautiful baby, and it's like.
I think the children in the future it reminds people that there's hope. They don't have to live in the same hatred that they were taught.
Right.
And they can be themselves just like they were before they started calling black people the N-word. I'm not gonna speak too openly on your show.
I always love that thing what we've talked about before, and you said it before, like the whole idea that you can decide who to be any single day. You can change. You know what I'm saying?
In a minute.
And all you have to do is decide, I don't want to be this anymore.
Yes, brother.
This was a bad pattern. This was a bad behavior. And yes, that is who I was in the past, but that doesn't mean that's who I have to be the next day or the next day. And then say like you slip up for a while. You can always go back. You can get out of it again. You know what I'm saying?
And that translates to fitness.
Yeah. So like fitness, say you fuck up for a week and you do a bunch of bad habits, it doesn't matter. Get back to the right path again.
Yes, brother.
You can always change. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think people realize that they can do that. They get so caught up with the ego of like wanting to stay the same. Oh, you gotta have more. Don't
So I
you?
gotta have more, dude. I'm sitting here
It
just
is good
looking at
shit.
taste is a gift, and I'm gonna cry. I'm
Yes,
gonna cry.
sir.
Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more.
I'm good because I gotta fucking be good. Good boy.
Yes, we gotta be a good boy today.
I
It's
gotta
okay.
be lean, mean.
So and let's talk about the show you're doing, man. What's coming up
So that is gonna be the Tangi Johnson Classic, I believe.
on June 24th,
June
right?
24th. So I'm like, I just did a show. It was really, really fucking hard. I'm like, why not just do another one while let's suffer again for 6 more or 8 more weeks or whatever. Now I'm like about 7 weeks out from it.
Mm-hmm.
So the suffering's about to start again, and I'm kind of excited for it.
Dude, I'm so excited. One thing I'd love to give you a piece of advice, dude, because I've been watching your journey for a while.
Yeah.
Pat yourself on the back as much as you can because you deserve to be happy for yourself, man. You've done there's so much physical change. I remember the first time seeing you at Body Shop and seeing you just in these past few months.
Oh yeah.
You've gone through magnificent transitions.
It's crazy when you get a good coach, actually follow your plan, and dedicate yourself what's possible, and you don't realize what's possible.
Well, you're not taking the path of the fuck off. You're taking the path of the fit fuck.
Yeah, man.
Right.
And it's crazy when you see your potential. And then once you get to a certain level, you're like, whoa, I could actually work harder than this even. Mm-hmm. That's the crazy thing. Like, dude, let's talk about jujitsu.
Okay.
So like,
I'm so nervous now. Oh, man.
You've been meaning to do this for a long time, right? Now, what made you decide that jujitsu was the practice that you wanted to get into? Was the martial art that you wanted to pursue?
I wanted to do it for a while. I've quite a few different inspirations.
Because to me, BJJ is like the dopest. Because I think back to like UFC, watching it kind of blow up. BJ Penn. Remember BJ Penn? How fucking good at jiu-jitsu that guy was.
Yeah.
Like he could like put his like fucking foot behind his head without like even using his hands and shit. Like just fucking amazing jiu-jitsu. Like,
Absolutely amazing human beings, right? There's so many great fighters out there. To be honest, I think my self-defense journey, man, over when I started it, I realized I was a very, very weak human being. Weak when it comes to firearm proficiency, weak when it came to hand-to-hand combatives, and weak when it came to the fact that if I beat the living life out of somebody, so I got in a fight, I won, my hands were fucking trashed.
Yeah, you're
Trashed.
like you didn't break your hands.
Street fights do not do well with things where you have to do mechanics with small functions
Yeah,
where you
so your
figure
fucking
you're
hands
reaching
are all fucked
behind an
up.
escalator like this because I can't fit my big ass arm because I've been lifting weights and I'm trying to twist a bolt in and I'm like, fuck this, dude. Is this really my life?
Yeah.
Is this what happens when I can't defend myself in a proper way that doesn't fucked up my time? Like punch somebody in the face. What if you break your hand? You can operate a vehicle properly. You can't do all these things properly. I can't, like, if it the biggest thing is this: if it interrupts sex, is probably the biggest dangerous thing. And
Can't have that.
like,
Yeah.
definitely can't have that, right? But most importantly, like tying your shoes in the morning to go to work was it. I was tying my shoes and I was like, what the fuck, dude? My hand's fucked up. I got to go to work. Went to work, hands fucked up, pissed off. I'm just ultimately really mad. Why do this? And I'm listening to Tim Kennedy in my ear. He's talking on a podcast about learning self-defense and stuff like that. So Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu and firearm proficiency, fitness, being better to your partner as a human being, come home after a really, really tough night of training your ass off and say, hey, honey, you want a foot massage? Or I want to,
Dude, I
going
gotta
out of
add
your
Tim
way.
Kennedy to my podcast list.
Dude, I'm gonna shoot you the one I listen to, and you're probably gonna start your own self-defense journey immediately.
All right, everybody, it is time to take a short break for our sponsors. The Nicky Free Podcast is now brought to you by Manscaped. They are the best in men's below the waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. So join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. So it is 20% off and free shipping worldwide with the code NickyFit at manscaped.com. So the thing about it is, like, when you're, you're trying to shave your balls, you got like a date or something, you don't know where things are going to go, but you don't want to be like showing up all messy down there. You want to show up all clean. You want to be looking good down there. You know what I'm saying? So like, we've all done that. You get a shaver out, you go to shave yourself, and what happens every time? You cut your balls, man. And it's no good when you cut your balls. You start bleeding all over your ball sack. You got blood going everywhere. You get it cleaned up. You go on the date. And, like, obviously, you're a high-performance male. So, like, things are going good for you in the date. Stuff starts going well. And next thing you know, like, one thing leads to another. But then the thing is, you whip it out. And, like, there's a big thing. Like, your balls are all cut up. And it's, like, all sore down there. And it's, like, such a turnoff, So it's, like, you don't want that to happen to you, Like, you don't want a big open wound on your ball sack when you're out on a date. Like, that's just no way to be. So guys, it's time to take care of yourself. All right, look at this. Look at this product. It's awesome. Thank you, Manscaped. This stuff is so great. They also threw in this beard hedger, which is just a great beard trimmer. We'll talk about that another time. But this is the Performance Package. So yeah, guys, go online, go to manscaped.com. If you want 20% off, use code NickyFit. You will get 20% off and free shipping worldwide. So check out the Performance Package. It's awesome. And thank you guys so much. Use code NickyFit, save 20%. You're really helping out the podcast. And I want to say that I was already using Manscaped before they started sponsoring the podcast. I think they're a great product. So thank you guys for picking this stuff up. Use code NickyFit, save 20% and free shipping. You're really helping me out. You're helping out the podcast. And thank you to Manscaped. And thank you guys. Go out there. Let's get cleaned up. Let's not go out there all messy and stuff. We got to look good. All right, guys. Thank you.
Because it's going to inspire you to remember one thing. You are mortal. Yeah. And you have a huge impact that you can still provide to every human being that you come in contact with when you lead with love and you walk in a sense of self-defense.
I love that, lead with love. So the weird thing is, like, I used to do pro wrestling, right?
Yeah, brother.
The funny thing is, like, so, growing up, I think I started lifting weights with my uncle back in, like, junior high a little bit. And then high school, I got into it at the end of high school big time because I was just a tall, skinny kid by that point. I'm like, man, I need to put on some muscle. So I was doing the stuff my uncle taught me. Then I went to college, and like I've told this story before, I was lucky enough to be around like Scott Truca, Marty Beck, all these fucking dudes that were like these athletes, football players, wrestlers from a couple grades above me. So we were all in college, but they were from the same hometown as me. But they just kind of took me under their wing, taught me how to lift. So I start lifting with them, get more serious about lifting. But then I'm in college, and you have to take one credit. We had to take like, I can't remember, it was like a physical thing. So like I just chose jujitsu because I was like, jujitsu's cool. So like,
They taught that shit
yeah,
in
so that was one of my
school?
college credits. And then I liked it so much that I started paying $50 a month to keep doing it afterwards. And I only did like a few more months afterwards. But the weird thing was, so like in doing the jujitsu, you know, and I'm like, I barely remember any of it at this point, but you know, so it was Guion, and I still remember one of the dudes. He was so fucking cool, and he was like you could tell he was a wrestler in school because he was the best in the class. I was beating people when we would go live at the end of class, but not because I had any kind of skill or was even better than anybody at all. It was just because of my size.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and they were all novices too. So like, I was definitely not good, but that kid, he was smaller than me, but he could kick my ass, dude. He could like, cause he was a fucking wrestler. But anyway, so like doing the jujitsu was actually what gave me the confidence to start pro wrestling. So shortly after doing jujitsu, I decided to sign up for wrestling school in Algona with IPW, and then I fucking started driving, you know, 2 hours every weekend to go get thrown around in a wrestling ring all weekend and learn how to wrestle for like 6 months. I think I did that before I started wrestling, but it was actually those jujitsu classes. Well, I think it was a combination of like lifting with those dudes in college that gave me some confidence, and then the jujitsu classes of learning how to use my body a little bit. That I was like, I can do this pro wrestling because that was my dream. So jujitsu led to that. So I have done a little tiny limited amount of it.
Man, that's awesome.
And I still
dude.
remember putting like my buddy in the kitchen. Like there, I was a lot really when I worked as a bartender. I was really close with like the kitchen staff because I always felt like they were more down to earth. You know, like the front of the house staff were always a bunch of drama queens, a bunch of alcoholics and shit. The kitchen staff were always like the, you know, just fucking, they were
Normal
dope.
people.
Yeah, they were the ones that we had a band together and everything. But my one buddy Alex kind of like was like coming at me because I was like the bigger, older dude, and he was like testing me, and I just put him in like a guillotine choke, and I choked him out, and he was like tapped me, and I'm like, so I was like, I still remembered that, you know, like
I think that's good, dude.
it was fun though, dude. Yeah,
I love
jiu-jitsu's dope.
jiu-jitsu is so badass. I have a really, really great place that I practice it at.
So let's hear about it.
I'm not a superstar when it comes to jiu-jitsu. I've never done wrestling. I've never done any type of martial art that really helped with ground game, anything at all.
Right.
And everybody at Kindred Jiu-Jitsu down there in Edmonds has been super, super helpful. And when you move
I'm
up,
seeing your videos.
you got to come. You got to come. You got to come.
I
You
could
got
at
to.
least
You
do
have
a
to sign up.
class or something, yeah.
Dude, just come for a month. Come there for a month. Bring some friends with you. Grow. See if you like it as a group, and you'll be so surprised. The amazing human beings, man.
Yeah.
The guy who runs the joint, Kyle. He's a superstar. He's been on my podcast. He goes for by Clutch.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the Sheepdog Response cadre, and that's where I ran into him at the Sheepdog Response Pistol One course.
Yeah.
And that's how I met him. But before then, I got referred to Kindred Jiu-Jitsu by a guy who went to Edmonds, Gracie Baja. So this purple belt guy was like, "Hey man, I know you want to really get into jiu-jitsu, and you keep getting hurt. You just got hurt with bodybuilding again. Why don't you try to kind of transition out and start jiu-jitsu or incorporate to both?" Because I was doing the gun training, I was doing the weightlifting, I was deadlifting 405 for reps.
Well, you can still do a little bodybuilding, but like I feel like honestly, dude, it's like, you know, like I'm kind of hooked on it right now, but I feel like as we get older, for sure, like getting into something more functional is probably better for the body.
Yes.
You know, like
I would say bodybuilding is for a chapter in your life, not for your whole life.
no.
And I say that from the experience of not just myself, but others.
Yes.
It's not forever, and it's important to understand when chapters are over.
So at some point, you got to transition into some kind of functional lifting, functional. I feel like there's nothing more functional than jiu-jitsu.
I think that jiu-jitsu is very practical, right? A lot of fights end up on the ground. In this day and age, if you're in a fight, someone's going to try some MMA shit they see on TV or something, right?
100%.
It's really hard to fight stand up nonstop because what happens when you trip? What happens when you eat shit over the concrete taking you onto the sidewalk? What happens when you get pushed over a fucking hood of a car? What happens if your face gets bashed in a car window and then you hit the ground and they have to fight from the ground?
Right.
And someone's on top of you and they want to do ground and pound. How do you avoid that? Do you understand what it's like to be in this pressure? How are you supposed to slide on the ground like you're on the mats when you're on the concrete? It's different.
Yeah.
Do you understand how to bridge, trap and roll? You know, all these things come into play. I think it's really important for someone who is walking into jiu-jitsu, something that I wish I did do better is make sure you read the schedule, because I walked into a really advanced class.
No
There is
shit.
nothing in there but people who are giants. To me, they're giants, right? I look up to these individuals pretty seriously.
Very much respect.
I'll show you them on Instagram after
Yeah.
this. They're the people, like the top tier athletes that go to Kindred, and a lot of them are doing professional fight. They're professional fighters, and they're like.
But when you're around those people, dude, it's only helping you, because it's kind of like the doing this bodybuilding show. Like, I'm not stepping on that stage against, I mean, obviously I was in the novice class, so that was, but the other classes, like, you're dealing with like world class athletes.
100%.
It's not just like regular people, dude.
And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't. For me, it was more of, oh fuck, I just walked into a class. Now I'm the FNG, the fucking new guy,
Yeah.
and I'm also interrupting their training time when they're training to
Well,
follow
and you're
their dreams.
kind of like,
And I know what it's like to chase your dreams. I don't want shit in my way. I want to face my dreams. If I have to sit out around because we're uneven, or if I have to take it easy on the new guy because he doesn't know how to defend against this, and I don't want to hurt him accidentally, I don't want that to be the thing. So
Yeah.
walking in with a glass completely empty, not half empty, but completely empty mentality is important for me. No ego. Tap
you gotta
it's
keep yourself very humble.
I'll sit out when I'll clean the mats as often as I can. Everybody needs to, when they try something new and they're entering it, it's important to play your role. And I don't say
that's
it from
like in wrestling, you had to be so humble when you're starting, because like you're trying to learn, dude. You can't go in there like,
no.
And I did get some advantages because of my size and stuff, where I probably got pushed ahead a little bit sooner than I really deserved, But it was like I tried to always be humble in that and be appreciative of it, like knowing that, I'm getting some opportunities because of my size and looks or whatever that I probably don't deserve. But that is kind of how it is in wrestling,
Yeah, man. Well,
but I wanted to be
size does.
But I didn't want to go off just like my size or how I looked. I wanted to be really good at it. So I tried. Same thing as you. Like, I tried to learn from the best people, no matter like what size they were, but like just the best wrestlers, because I wanted to get good at the craft of it.
Well, and that's the thing, right?
I didn't want to be just a
anybody.
big guy that was like, oh, he's big, but he's not even a good wrestler. I wanted to be good at the art, the fucking art form of it, because that's what I loved.
Having the shoulder be my way into I was delayed to start jiu-jitsu over 9 months, and it fucking,
Because the shoulder thing
it
fucked
was
you up.
like, that's the only really thing that really messed me up mentally during my my shoulder injury, other than the fact that I had to like expose my savings, and I'm not like, I wasn't financially stable during the time. That was very, very scary for me to not know.
with that shoulder shit, it's expensive.
Yeah, man.
Fuck,
And you don't like, they never operated because it would debilitate me even more. Yeah. I can only, like, there's certain angles I can only resist, like a finger push.
Yeah.
So walking into jiu-jitsu, I had to be really careful, making sure, hey, this is messed up for the first couple months, and now I'm starting to get to the point where I am kind of,
it's coming back,
kind of
now?
letting the dogs off the leash. I would say I'm letting my
starting
strength
to trust it again.
I'm not letting my strength overwhelm whatever, but I'm using my left arm normally. It's just a matter of learning how to use it. It's still hard, man. Like,
but it's coming back.
It was, for the most part, I didn't think that I was going to walk into so many obstacles. And I was like, I try to be as non-egotistical as possible walking into jiu-jitsu.
Well, and the thing is too, like, you're kind of like, you're a dude that's got a lot of stuff going for you. So you have to check that. Like, you're Eddie Lowery. Like, you're kind of a big personality, right? Like,
no, man. I'm just another human being, right?
Well, right. But that's because of who you are. You believe that. I'm just another human being.
I hope that my impact is what you just said. I hope
it
that's
is.
My
you
impact.
have a big impact, and I think it's a positive one. But, like, I feel like that's what makes you good, is that you try to keep that in check. You don't, you know what I'm saying? Like the ego thing.
I really appreciate your compliment, man. That meant a lot to me.
No, for real, right?
That.
Like, you have to, like, you go into a new thing, and it's like, I'm not gonna act like a big dog in here, because I'm not a big dog here. I want to learn from these people.
Yeah.
So it's like, you say I wanted to start wrestling again. Like, maybe I was a big deal where I wrestled. I worked myself up to a certain level where I was like the heavyweight champion, but it was in a small town promotion. Now, if I go to a promotion around here, I have to start from scratch. I got to be like, put my ego aside. Like, they don't know the stuff I've done. They don't know my history. So I got to start at the bottom of the fucking rung again. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I wish that my life experiences in my bad situations transitioned into jiu-jitsu. A lot of them have being cool and calm under pressure. I don't flail. Like I can say that I don't flail. I don't know
So you
how to
can
use
stay
my body,
calm.
but I don't know how to use my body. Right.
But
So
that's what you're there to learn. Right?
but I'm there to learn it. So I try to be. I know that so many times as human beings we are. Jordan Peterson said it best. You know, when you first start something, everyone's afraid to be a fool, but you are a fool.
You have to be a fool to learn.
But if you're perfectionistic, you will. You know, you build that confidence up.
Yes.
I'm so thankful for my gracious, super gracious partners that I've rolled with.
Dude, I love.
I'm thankful
Jordan
for every
Peterson,
time. He's an amazing
fucking good.
individual as well, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's really hard for me to be honest and say that I wish I knew more about jiu-jitsu. I'm trying to learn my best, and I'm super excited for my great rolling partners.
Yeah,
Jeff,
you're gonna keep
Kyle,
getting better,
dude.
bro.
There's a 16-year-old girl who shows up to class. She's not there every day that I'm there, but she's amazing in comparison to me. And that's not
Dude.
that's not like humbling or whatever, because I already try to check my ego. I'm super excited for her, right?
Right. There's like this.
If my little sister, I think about like if this was my little sister, how awesome is that this person is able to physically
Dude, it's
disable
so
without
fucking
punching
amazing.
somebody.
Like, so there is a bikini competitor named Tiana Weymouth, and she's been on my podcast. So she's an IFBB pro at the age of 18.
Yeah.
And she's so fucking inspiring to me, dude. And she like beat anorexia and everything, and like
Wow. Yes,
and
I
so
listened to her podcast. I'm
she
not going
was
to be honest. I'm going to be
fucking
honest.
good.
I did shed at least one tear because
right. It was powerful.
it's huge.
Shit.
It's very powerful.
But after my show, dude, she sent me the nicest message, like kind of welcoming me into the community and like congratulating me on my first show. And it was like, it meant so much because it's like, dude, like, and she tries to stay so humble, but it's like, you see that a lot. So you got this girl in jiu-jitsu who's young, but like age doesn't even fucking matter for that stuff. Like people can get so good at things at such a young age. It's so wild, dude. Like you'll see people like, even in lifting, you'll see these young people just killing it.
Yes, man. And I think
because
that
they started younger, like when they, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it doesn't matter when you start. You can start at any time. But.
I don't think there's ever a time where you should not start something unless you want to drive commercial trucks and your eyesight is not there.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Please don't do that.
If you tell me you're gonna deadlift like 1,000 pounds and you're like an 80-year-old skinny guy, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Like let's just start slow. But I think we can, as human beings,
be somewhat realistic.
We can work towards whatever goal. So my goal personally for jiu-jitsu is to show up every day. I'm gonna try to be I'm gonna let the ego kind of set back in. My goal is to show up every single fucking day that I can make it there.
Right.
With an open heart, an open mind, being receptive to learn and to appreciate every single person on that mat and what they're sharing with me. Because I'm there not just to be I'm not there just to learn for myself. I'm there to be a good partner for rolling. I don't want to accidentally bump people in the face with my ankle, which I did last night. That was embarrassing as hell. And I feel horrible, right? Because I kicked somebody in the face by accident.
Oh my god!
I mean, it's a part of it, right? But
you never want to like hurt somebody else.
But you don't want to like be a flailer or whatever. So I try to control my body, and I'm so appreciative of all the great rolling partners. I'm appreciative of the amazing athletes that attend there. I watch some of their fights, some of their combat jiu-jitsu stuff, and it's huge to me. Like there's people who I really look up to there, and I don't tell them enough. Thank you for rolling with me and sharing your experience. I try to say it to everyone.
It's probably you probably get really close with these people.
Because, really close. Like I'm like covered in their sweat.
That's what I'm saying. When I was in wrestling, dude, like you never get closer to a group of people because you're working so closely with each other, but you're also protecting and taking care of each other because you're, when we're doing these moves, like you're suplexing people, you're DDTing people, you're literally. Their life is in your hands when you're picking them up and body slamming them. So like you have this trust with each other, so it creates this like brotherhood, this closeness that you really can't get. And I feel like sports are like that. Jiu-jitsu, martial arts are like that, like
the military is also like
military,
that. I think you would do really good in any branch. I would say
if I would have had the mental capacity that I've had in my 30s, when I was in my 20s, I think I could have done really, very well. And when I was younger, dude, I was so just not disciplined. You know what I'm saying?
I think that a lot of people go into the military undisciplined and they leave with something that they never new.
It would have been good
It's
for me,
because
honestly, dude.
You gain
You know what I'm saying?
you gain over anything else in the military. What a lot of people gain is self-belief, self-worth, and awareness as well.
Yeah.
Self-awareness.
Yeah.
What is my impact on other people? What legacy am I going to leave behind? And who the fuck am I beyond my parents' overlook?
Right.
Who am I why did this hurt my heart? Is it because my girlfriend did the same thing that my mom did to my dad, or this or that, or for me personally, like this on a personal standpoint, why am I so thankful for this young lady that I met in high school? I really hope that our relationship stays the way it is right now and it keeps me improve. Maybe I'll marry her one day, and holy fuck, I'm married to my hero.
Right.
My hero I'm married to, right?
Dude, that's huge.
So I think that the military is good for a lot of people, and sadly, man, it's tough for some people when they get out. It was like I can say it was tough for me.
Nobody knows more than you because you deal with that stuff a lot. You know.
I do deal with it a lot, man, and I had this amazing opportunity just last week, man. Just last weekend, I went down to Texas for the MVP gala, and I got to sit there with a Medal of Honor recipient as he talked about what Emerging Veterans and Players has done for him, and like I'm wearing this shirt tonight. I promised myself I wouldn't get like all emotional and shit, but I'm like I can openly admit that I'm like holding back tears saying this.
Dude, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the last episode I had you on, I know I cried. I can't remember what we were talking about.
Okay. So you broke the ice.
It was some heavy.
You
shit.
broke the ice, dude. Then
yeah.
Merging Veterans and Players has been the most beautiful thing to me, man. When I got out of the military, like the day before I flew out, I got told that I was a pussy if I signed up for disability by the Navy. I got told that if you have any issues transitioning, you're just a pussy. You're weak. I got told that it's gonna be smooth. I got told all these things. And in TAPS class, TGPS class, I don't know why they call it TAPS, but whatever. You pretty much transition out of the military class. They teach you this is what you need to do. You just go get a job. Great. Now here you got a bunch of benefits on e-benefits. Just log on. Here's how you log on. You know how to dress in a suit. Goodbye. Like fucking 2 weeks of dress up in a monkey suit and get the fuck out. And on my last day in the military, I signed my medical paperwork with like zero issues on it. And here I am now, years later, thinking, why do my ears ring? Why do I have horrible migraines all the time? How come my right ear won't pop? How come I have fucking anxiety attacks, panic attacks? How come I have night terrors? How come I have big issues with a lot? How come I can't fucking check my own email?
Right.
Like how come I have these issues? How come I have knee problems, back problems?
But you're being told to just
problems.
like.
But I got told when I was getting out that if I sign up for the military because I didn't get shot, I'm a pussy. If I sign up for disability, because I'm taken away from people who have been disabled. There's so many. I wish I could go back and I'm not gonna say strangle, but I was thinking about it, but I'm not going to say it. I would love to go back and re-educate that human being who told me that, who was a doctor, a lieutenant in the United States Navy.
It's probably some weird mentality.
It's nonsense. There are so many scars that people come home with that are not visible.
So we should be telling people to reach out more for help, not telling them they're a pussy, right?
Yes. I mean, there's times where you need to, don't get me wrong. There are times in the military where you need to shut the fuck up, do whatever it takes to make this work. And bitch about it later, or heal later, or deal with the fact that you got shot later.
Yep, because
I'm not
this
trying
thing
to
has to
negate
get
that.
done. Lives are at risk. Yeah.
Yes, I'm not trying to take away from that, but I am saying that.
But this is talking about after the military.
Like we're talking about the rest of my fucking life. We're talking about like me. I left for the Navy. I didn't have a home to come back to. I had nothing to come back to, nothing, and I came back with a hope, a dream of starting a life with my wife, right? Back in 2016. Like I came back, I flew in on my anniversary. Like I saw my sister at Meadowdale High School right up the way. I didn't expect to deal with the things that I dealt with. I didn't expect to drink just like a bunch of Jack Daniels like almost every night and be intoxicated, and to use alcohol when I'm upset because I don't know what my self-worth is, because I was just in charge of all these people, and I was a caretaker for my sailors, protecting them from the sexual harassing chain of command that I had at the time. Yeah. Protecting them. I was the barrier between them and poor leaders, and I was advocate for them. They felt advocated for. And when I left, I'd get messages.
Yeah.
Why did you have to leave? Blah blah blah. Like these people are like
they
my
felt
family,
abandoned
man.
by you almost, but it's like, hey.
In a certain way, yes, and you kind of carry that with you because you go in the military, you create these bonds. You create these bonds with people. You don't realize that separation anxiety is something that we don't talk about enough after leaving the military. I think it's important for our human beings who serve the military to acknowledge that you may come home with some shit. I got buddies who are the nastiest, meanest special operations motherfuckers in the world.
Right.
No problems wrong with them. Other ones can't even hear a gunshot.
Yeah.
After just a couple tours.
I know. I think
everyone's
we talked
different.
about that before, how everybody's so different.
Yes. Man, there's no cookie cutter thing about vets, right? We are all, there's so much, the military is a melting pot, leaving is a melting pot. So last weekend I flew out to the Virginia Veterans and Players Gala, and it was the first one they've had.
And that was in Texas, you said?
Yeah, it was in Texas.
Yeah.
It was such an amazing experience to hear stories of people
dealing with similar things.
Who have dealt with them and found literally life-saving measures through the idea of peer-to-peer support. Like what we're doing right now, you and me talking, we're syncing up.
Yep.
What if this room was filled with motherfuckers from different branches of the military, and we talk about our highs and lows of the week, or if we're going through some shit, and I say, hey, bro, I'm sorry you're going through that. I had a similar experience, and this is how I navigated it. Now you have a tool to fix your fucking life situations.
Yes.
How beautiful would it be if we all did that on our own level?
It's
just,
so important.
Just not organized, just normal.
Yes. I mean, I think that's important for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, just like people to have somebody someone's going through a breakup or something, like that you can talk to somebody that's been through something similar and they can help you. You know what I mean?
A tribe, right?
Yeah, just a tribe, a community that's.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So you were a professional athlete, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was a pro wrestler. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about leaving pro wrestling? How was that for you afterwards, after you left? Do you miss it? Do you have...
There was a time where like I kind of was thinking about it all the time. And then there's times where I've been kind of like in the gym, like all pumped up and I'm thinking about like going through the moves and like, I'll be like, get that thing. Like, like I fucking still got it. I could do this. You know what I mean? And then there's times where like, I'm like totally at peace with it, where I'm just like, I'm so happy with what I'm doing now with the podcast and with, I think doing this bodybuilding stuff kind of fills that void for me. And I, and then I think like, do I have anything else to prove in it? Or like, so I'm like, I don't know, but there's like, somebody even asked me that question on my Instagram recently, like, would you wrestle again? And it's like, I feel like I could, I just don't know if I want to, like,
I understand that,
but
man.
I still have this love for it that never goes away. Like when, another one of my favorite guests, Sam Deason, comes on. He's another powerlifter. Every time he comes on,
I like Sam.
All we fucking do is sit and talk about wrestling because I'm still obsessed with it. I'm literally still obsessed with it, the art form of it. And like, it's crazy because like me and him are talking about how it's kind of the best it's been in years right now. Like the stuff they got going on right now.
Got a lot of live stuff going on. I remember looking back when who was really, really awesome.
Oh, The Rock,
Triple H,
Triple H.
Yeah, Triple H. But what it was
DX,
dude.
Suck it.
Suck it. Well, I used to watch that like after my family went to bed. I used to watch the WWE, and they changed the name like 20 times or whatever. But
yeah, WWF,
WWE. But I used to watch them, and I'd laugh and
dude, that DX shit was awesome. Funny as fuck.
So funny, right? How great is it?
We got 2 words for you. Suck it.
Yeah, man.
Like,
how great is it that you did something very, very similar to just that?
Well, it's crazy because like, it's one of those things you're talking about, like people actually taking action. So like in like when I was like in 8th grade or whatever, I remember my sister started watching wrestling and I'm like, what is this shit? And then I started watching and I got obsessed with it. And it was like, just became like me and my buddy's thing. Like me and my 2 buddies would like go pretend we were wrestlers on the trampoline. And I was one of those people where like, instead of just like, most people like they get into something, they like do it for a little bit and then they just go have their normal. I'm one of those people where I'm like, I'm gonna actually do this, and people are like, what? You can't. Like I remember like, and the funny thing is when you say you're gonna do something that seems out of the ordinary to like regular people, they are like so like, well, what do you mean you can't do that? That's not a thing that you can do. It's like, well, that guy that does it on TV, he was just a person.
Just because you
And
don't envision it for yourself
and it's
doesn't
like,
make it any less possible
right.
for
And
the
it's like,
person
well,
who
I'm
wants
just a
it.
person. He's a person. If he's a person and he was able to do this, what's stopping me from being able to do it? So I just didn't ever look at those boundaries. Like, there's a thing we do. Like, it's like, that's for somebody else. Like, I can't do that. It's like, actually, if you really want to do it, you should go try to do it, because you're going to regret it someday if you don't. And so, like, I just decided, like, so it is crazy when you think, like, your 8th grade self has this dream and then you fucking actually, like, go through with it when you're older. It's weird. Like,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
So you envisioned it as an 8th grader, and then
Yeah.
you lived it.
yeah, it's like, that's kind of what I've tried to do in my life.
You know, I want to say something, man. It's fucking awesome that you did that. One, because you envisioned your, like, you at whether you admit it or not, or you knew it or not, or you felt it or not, you looked up to the people who were living your goal right at the moment, right?
Yeah, oh my God. Like,
You
they're still my heroes.
became your fucking your own hero of your own movie.
Yeah, you
Like,
kind of take stuff from all your heroes and then you kind of become you.
like yes.
It's
Like,
fucking
how crazy
wild.
would it be if people saw something they wanted to
Well,
try,
I feel like every
did
person,
it, and then looked back and was like, I fucking did that.
Zach was talking about that last time, like how all humans have this potential and that's why everybody's depressed and unhappy, because they're not living up to their potential.
God.
And if they could, they'd be happy. You know what I'm saying?
I love when you have Zach on, man. He
He's
has a really
a
good
trippy,
mindset.
like beyond intelligent. Actually, I feel like he's a dude who's so intelligent that it like almost makes him like unhappy in a sense. Like, and he has to work on that.
And
he's a happy guy now, but I'm saying he takes him work to do it.
I can understand and relate to that, and I'm not talking about intelligent, because Lord knows I'm dyslexic as fuck. I don't use a lot of proper English, and and that's okay.
There's
That's
different
me.
kinds of intelligence, so.
But like, damn, like, I'm just thinking. I really, really wish, just for even 5 seconds, that I could just take life, alter it, and put it over here just perfectly.
Yeah.
You saw your dreams, altered the path, because it's not their path, it's your path, and you did that.
Yeah.
That's huge.
But I feel like everybody's capable of that. They just don't do it. They don't put the work in.
I think so.
You know what I'm saying? And then you're so much happier. Like, you want to do jujitsu. Like, it's like you could just sit and talk about it.
No.
But talking about it doesn't do anything. Taking the action of going there, signing up for the class, getting in there and rolling with these people that are so much fucking better than you.
So much better,
Putting
dude.
your
So
ego
much better.
aside, because you know that you have to do that to learn. You know what I'm saying? And like, you're putting yourself amongst these killers.
Well,
You're amongst killers,
yes,
dude. That's
brother.
how you get better. You
Dude,
don't.
Jeff is nasty, man. Jeff is my little sister's best friend's uncle or godfather.
So here's what you do
Yeah.
if you're a weak person. You find a place that's like comfortable, where they don't work very hard, because then you feel good about yourself. You're putting yourself amongst killers. So like, that's what you want. If you really want to be good at something, you want to find the people that are the best at it, and you put yourself amongst them, and it's going to be way fucking harder, and you're going to feel like so fucking insecure and fucking like, maybe I've been good at other shit in my life, but now I ain't shit.
No, man.
I ain't fucking shit, because I'm around these fucking killers, dude. Like,
It was.
but that's
it was
how
wild.
you get better, man. That's the only way you get better. Put yourself around the best people in something.
Yes, brother. I really think that there's so much value in that. We just had a conversation about politics, right?
Yes.
I think it's so important to be
Some
able
people
to,
tell me not to on here, but I don't give a fuck.
Well, you know what? Anybody who tells you not to express your thoughts and sync up with other people who I might have a different opinion than you. What if mine's not as open-minded and loving of other human beings as possible? It's easy to deal in absolution when it comes to politics, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to say, okay, kids are dying. Don't blame the shooter, blame the tool. Fuck the AR-15s. Get them out of here. Right. You know what? You own an AR-15, Eddie? You're a bad you don't support banning the gun you have. I don't like you.
I shared that post today.
That's a dangerous saying to say.
Well, I shared a post today. It was that Chris Willicks guy, who I really think he's awesome too. He has a podcast, but like, he's talking about like, nowadays people, instead of taking action, they do this thing where they just like, that's called virtue signaling. Like, I don't like Eddie because he's pro gun. and that means he bad. And by me saying that and by me saying that online, that makes me a good person. So like they do this thing where like they didn't even do anything to help whatever they say their cause is, but by saying Eddie bad, me good,
Eddie bad, me good,
because he has bad beliefs. So
bad.
Me calling out his beliefs online makes me a good person. That's called virtue signaling.
Well,
and that's like how people get their self-esteem nowadays without doing any actual work, and I hate it.
You're absolutely right. Pandering to the idea that we can stand on children's graves and say that means that you should ban my gun parts and it's going to help stop mass shootings is literally some of the most insane shit that I've ever heard of.
And I'd be open.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna be straight up with you. Last week I grabbed my belt, opened up my gun safe, and I said, "Listen, motherfuckers, I'm not gonna have y'all acting up and growing up to be assault weapons." And I started smacking my hand on my belt, and I spanked the living shit out of all my AR-15s, all of them. I'm not gonna name how many I have because I have quite a few. I smacked the living shit out of them with my belt, and I beat them just like my grandparents beat my parents. Yeah. And so I beat when I was done disciplining my AR-15s. I said, "If any of y'all grow up to be assault weapons, I'm gonna fuck y'all up." I slammed the door shut.
As if they're real fucking people. Yeah.
Right? No, these guns are never going to do that. I don't want to be the guy who says this, but it has to be said. My guns are not going to be used in an active shooter situation with kids. Unless for some reason the whole police force decides to not be
so
police force anymore.
So your point is it's the person.
Well, you know what? What if I told you that you're not recording this, the computer's recording your this is your computer's podcast, man.
Yeah.
It's not logical. If you ban, now I understand stopping the access to weapons. I understand that completely. Yes, I get that that's
regulation.
That's one avenue to approach. But regulation didn't stop me or my friends from accessing weapons at the age of 16 or 14.
Well, and that's
out of the back of somebody's car.
That banning them is not going to stop criminals from getting.
We live in the world of 3D printers. People 3D print guns.
So, dude, just for anybody that's listening that has a different opinion, I am not against if somebody wanted to come on here and present good ideas to the opposite, I would listen to them. You know what I'm saying?
I have a
good.
I'm sure
you've had conversations.
Yes.
Like that.
Well, I listen to other people's ideas.
Right. I'm sure you talk to people that have different opinion of you on this situation, and I'm sure you've been able to have civil conversations with them.
Well, I just said something. I just said one thing. I just said my guns aren't assaulting kids in schools. You will not find me being a human being who walks in a school and murders the angels of this society. Mm-hmm. I've had family members who've been on the receiving end of firearms in schools. Mm-hmm. I want nothing to do with that idea. Now, that being said, can we bolster school security?
I think so.
You bet. There's metal detectors.
Yeah.
There's so many options we can do. Doing that instead of arguing over issues that are right versus left in the office for years while children die in schools is good. We need to do something.
Say you believe in banning guns anyway. It's kind of like the cat's already out of the bag. There's so many out there anyway.
If you want to disarm black men,
so you're still not going to solve the problem by doing it.
Yes, and also in this day and age, with I've heard the rumors. You've heard the rumors. White supremacy is at an all-time high. I don't think disarming black men when the police are being called racist is necessarily a good thing to do. And hate to pitch it. I might look pretty light in this light up here. I do have a little bit of color to my skin.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be an easy victim for neo-Nazis. And I can say that because that's not something I'm cool with. I'm not cool with that idea of racism.
Because that's still a thing too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And how great is it that I can say I've used a firearm to protect myself multiple times and I still haven't had to shoot somebody with any firearms that I legally own at all.
Right.
I can say that with confidence.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. So I'm politically, I've always been kind of classically liberal, but definitely pro Second Amendment. There's a lot of people on the right I agree with on certain things, but I definitely disagree with them on other things. It's
fuck yeah.
It's so hard, dude. You can't really find a home. It's
I don't think that we need a home, man. I don't
think there should be either.
I think you should just be you, and I should just be me. And when we have good ideas, we share them.
That's what it should be. Freedom of ideas, exchanging ideas. So
I'm not a right winger. I'm not no conservative. Hell no.
No, I know you're not. I was listening to Bill Maher, and he was talking about how back in like the 70s and 80s, it was weird because it was like there was so much less like partisanship, like as far as like, you know, people would like just like listen to candidates and then vote for who they liked the best. So like people used to switch between right or R and D all the time, and they didn't think of it like I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican. They just thought like I listen to both candidates and then I make a decision on which one I think is
based
better.
off their merit,
So
like a meritocracy. Oh, that's
yeah. So like
dope.
nowadays, people like pretty much are heels dug into one side or the other, and every year they vote the same way. So like all Democrat, all Republican. But I guess back in the old days, you know, but like when we were just kids or before we were even born, like people would just like they'd switch more. So like there's data on this, you know, like people would go back and forth RD RD. They didn't. Like nowadays, you don't ever see anybody switch. I mean, I guess you did with the Trump thing. A lot of D's switched to an R.
A lot of D's switch to R's. A lot of D's are switching. Like I have a lot of friends. So I have a very, very diverse friend group. I have a very diverse family group. And I say family because this. I don't look at you as a friend. I look at you as my brother. If you called me in the middle of the night and you said, Eddie, something's wrong, man, I just need to fucking talk to somebody.
Same, dude. I got your back.
I'm flooring
anytime.
it here, okay? And by the time I pull up, I might have a couple
cops.
cops.
And I know you would, too.
The cops, they can't chase me in this area anyways. I mean, they'll send me a ticket for evading or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll get here. And when I get here, like I'm going to be like, what's wrong? And you're like, dude, I just needed you to like wax the back of my neck for my show tomorrow.
Shit.
I still show up, okay? I wouldn't care. I think that
That's so funny because I actually had to have a friend of mine shave my back for that.
You know what? You have to rely on friends, man. That's
dude.
Bodybuilding issues, right? But when like, if we look at situations like, okay, you're a brother to me. I look at my life as I have family and friends.
Mm-hmm. Like my friends are family.
And I try to make I try
brothers.
to make all my friends family, but some people I just can't let in that circle because some things they cross the line on, and I need to keep them at an arm's distance because I'm gonna have fucking kids.
Yeah, well,
these kids, I'm gonna have like little human beings who call me daddy.
Yeah,
who call my wife mommy or mama or whatever they choose to. I think it's gonna be super awesome, right?
Yeah.
And I need to keep this little thing safe from all these demons over there saying, okay, here. Let's play a game.
You're gonna get
the
more,
fuck out of
more
here.
protective for sure once you're your father.
More protective, but also respectful.
Who's in your circle? Yeah.
Who's my circle? But also to respect other people's views. So if I call somebody my brother, and you call me in the middle of the night, I show up.
Right.
Or I stay on the phone with you, or whatever it takes to help you as a human being in life. You're my family. I choose my family.
Yes.
Your family should not use the F word of family to treat you like shit, right? So I try to cut those people out. All right, if you treat me like shit, I just don't deal with you, and it's a win-win for everybody. You don't have to treat me like shit, waste energy, and I don't have to listen to the lies.
Dude, and as you get older, you'll notice that too. Like, you get no time for those people because you realize how short life is, and you're like, I don't need that in my life, dude. Like,
yeah,
I just don't have time for it anymore, bro.
So my family and my friends, like I have different political views than them and my friends and my family.
Yeah.
And we find common ground on a couple things usually, right?
That's the best thing to do.
I don't mean to be crazy, but I'm going to talk about some of my personal political views, and it's going to get kind of weird. I like the fact that it's okay to discuss differences.
I do too, man.
You have a difference of opinion. I have a different opinion. I like to entertain the idea.
I think it's huge, and I think we need more of it.
Well, you know what? I think I agree with you. Holy shit, we just found common ground. Look at that, people. Big round of applause, right? One thing. All right. So a second thing that we can usually agree on is that school security is horrible. If we have young children taking up AR-15s, which are semi-automatic weapons, not assault weapons. So when they take up these weapons and they go into schools and they deal death to other human beings on this earth, we have a serious cultural issue. Yes, we do. We also have a why are the cops responding to these issues instead of us using our great funding with the educational department to establish security around schools? If not that,
and like good security, trained, like not just fucking jokers.
And armed. You can't stand there and say, "Hey, I'm just here to be here. I have no weapon to stop somebody who is shooting." Dude, Uvalde, if you watch the footage...
That was a bad one, dude. Like, bad.
I've watched the footage about 10 times, right? Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of things we can change. I think one way to change is... I'm not saying fight fire with fire. I'm not saying go out and seek people who want to harm others and shoot them. But I am saying that if there is a school shooting in a school, we should have some type of QRF, quick reaction force, or some type of deterrent for that other than somebody who's standing there saying, please don't shoot me and then shoot these people behind me.
Well,
we can be better.
These are valid ideas.
And the teacher and somebody said arm the teachers, and I say, you know what? Maybe how about this? How about first we pay the teachers what they're supposed to be fucking paid first off.
Yeah.
And then we can even contemplate the idea.
Well, and they'd have to be trained, so
and trained and everything. I think that's a good thing we can pour money into as a country. I don't think that there's anything more important than the people who cannot defend themselves as human beings, which are children, right?
Yes.
So that's usually a common ground I can find.
Protecting our children should be a huge, a big priority.
Well, and then I ask
what's
them
going
too.
on in school is terrible, dude. Like with these shootings, it also always blows my mind that people choose, like, it seems like they go after the weakest people in society when they want to make a point. So like somebody's in pain and they want to pass the pain, like you're saying. And what do? They decide to go take it out on the weakest, most vulnerable, most, just, I mean, they're kids, dude. Like,
man, there's a beautiful human being who my little sister used to play around with in my house. And I used to babysit in Marysville.
yeah,
And one day she went to school and she was killed
really.
because of gun violence in school.
Jesus Christ, dude.
And I found out, and I left out to sea for a month, and I came back, and I was scared to like find out if my sister was dead too.
Yeah.
So I can really understand the idea of us as human beings being cautious about firearms and schools and all that. I can understand the fear that it instills.
Right, and I even understand why all these people want to ban these guns, because that's what they're scared of. I think they think that's
the guns aren't who's.
Well, I agree with you.
I think if we think about this from a realistic standpoint,
Yeah.
my guns aren't hurting anybody. Your guns, they might hurt people on stage. Maybe look out.
Maybe.
The fucking flex on them. But like we look at other human beings, and if we don't start right now in this day and age dealing with accountability,
Right.
I fucked up. I'm wrong. This is why. You fucked up. This is why. The gun didn't fuck up. The gun is just a tool. It's an object.
And I think it's like people that have your opinion and people that have the opposite opinion of you both want the same thing.
I think I'm honestly more middle ground because I can understand
You actually can understand their point of view. Yeah,
I can understand their point of view. I'm willing to understand it and say that won't work. I'm sorry.
It won't work.
I'm
you
sorry.
Actually have probably,
and I'm sorry.
So you're presenting these ideas that you think will work, which actually seem more practical to me. Like have better security. It's kind of that thing about going back to like, yes, in a perfect world, we shouldn't have to do this. But the world isn't perfect, and there's these bad people doing this thing. So maybe we should be proactive, and we should, like you said, think about some of these things. Like, what could we do? Could we have better security in school? Could we have trained people that know how to stop these things from happening?
Yes, brother. I mean, it's just
that's a better use of our money.
It's just an idea. We have. I want to
see. That's a realistic idea. So like.
Yeah.
Because like I actually don't believe banning all these guns would stop that problem. Because
me either. Because criminals do criminal shit. Crime and all. It's literally almost in the name. I mix it up
that's
a
what
little
I'm
bit,
saying,
but
dude. They're gonna get the gun. They're gonna get something. If they are in that much pain and they want to inflict damage on these people, they're gonna find a way to do it.
The UK doesn't have mass shootings. Yeah, they have mass stabbings. Like.
They just have less guns.
Just harm other people. Like it's not a positive thing. Mm-hmm. When I have an idea, right? I'm just gonna roll the dice on this one. What if we take a bunch of vets who lack purpose and say, "Hey, do you want to stop people from murdering children?" And they say,
a lot of them would be down.
Many of them. After we get some mental screening. I'm not saying no to mental screening. I think mental screening is good. It's good.
Well, that would have to be a big part of it, right?
It's good. It's good to make sure that we vet vets when we have this idea.
But think how highly trained they are, and then you said they need a purpose.
Some of them are. We'd have to definitely go through some active shooter prevention training. I think there's a lot of training that can improve. I really love what they did in Memphis. I think it was the city of Memphis, right? There was a shooter in there, and these two officers neutralized that horrible threat to children very effectively.
I do hear stories like that sometimes, dude. So it might be something to think about.
They don't get a lot of news attention. I think it's important.
Of course not. They don't. Like
I would rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Shame on me if I'm found disarmed, oblivious, and not able to stop somebody from murdering my friends or my children or people in my society.
Well, that's once again going back to the idea of being a capable human being.
Yes, brother.
So you're not going to just be a fucking victim. You're going to learn how to defend yourself. You're going to learn how to be capable.
Yeah, man.
And that, I mean, that's even what jiu-jitsu is. You're just adding to your arsenal of being a capable man or a capable human, because women should do it too. Like,
Yes, brother. 100%.
yeah, I'm big on that too, man. And I'm also like, yeah, there's some people that they don't have to do that, and we'll protect them, you know. But like,
I'm not saying, and I want to make sure I put this out. It's kind of like a disclaimer kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I don't advocate for anybody carrying a firearm who doesn't want to carry a firearm. But if you have, but if you're in fear of your safety from firearms,
the best thing to
don't
do is
be
have one.
an easy fucking victim.
Right.
You deserve to know that you are great and powerful and capable of protecting yourself.
Right.
It is inherently, it is so overwhelmingly inherently dangerous out here. Mm-hmm. Like, it's horrible English, but it's very, very dangerous out here in these streets.
It is, man.
It's fucking dangerous. I would be really, really poor, broke, injured, and probably dead if I didn't carry my firearm when I needed to. If I didn't arm myself with knowledge, if I didn't learn to practice self-restraint, if I didn't practice doing hard things often, I would have shot a lot of people when I first got my gun. So I'm saying to the people who do get involved in firearms, please do your research. You can't get gun insurance in our state because it's because criminals' families can sue you after you defend yourself in self-defense shootings in the state, which is insanity.
I
to
was
me.
talking about that. Yeah, that's a weird thing.
But it's important for you to understand what resources there are out there. There's plenty, and We the Female, I'm sure she'd love to talk about U.S. Law Shield and a couple other things.
I hope she comes on. Yeah.
I'll reach out to her. We'll see what we can do, man.
Yeah,
we'll
do you remember you said you would be on that podcast? Yeah,
dude, she is such a powerful.
I know
being,
she's
right?
so busy,
she
so
carries
she
so
can't.
much
Dude,
confidence. She carries so much confidence, man. And if anything, we can find a way to go out and meet her.
Right, we could do it.
You know, because I got a mobile setup, and you can just move my mobile setup.
Right, we can do that.
We'll figure it out. But one thing I wanted to make sure we touched on today, dude, is the effect we have on others.
Yes.
You have a tremendous effect on so many people that listen to your podcast. And also you have an effect on me every time we sync up and you share your experience with me. Mm-hmm. We've talked about a lot of things today that are very, very sensitive in society's eyes. But right. I think to our eyes, it's just a conversation because we're open and honest and we're loving human beings who don't want others to seek harm. So I do want to say to all your listeners, if you feel upset about anything that I said, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry you feel upset about it. I'd love to talk with you about it.
And anybody that has opposite opinions, I'm always open to listen to.
I'm always open to listen. I think let's find a solution to this problem. Mm-hmm. Why are children being removed from this earth?
It's a bad one.
I'm not for it. But another thing I wanted to make sure to say is that there's so much greatness that you hold personally in your life, man. And you're an exceptionally powerful human being. I think that you're going through this prep was something that really inspired me to reinvigorate, the tenacity that I use when I chase my own goals. And I want to thank you for inspiring me, man. It was a lot to me.
Well, and I do get that from other people that I watch. I mean, that's like, I get overwhelmed, dude, by that kind of stuff. Like you said, the power of people. Like, I'm watching people like David Goggins, and like just my mind. I'll never have what he has, but
yeah.
But but like it's still good to like hold that stand. Like, I still love watching him and looking up to him, dude. Like, and then the other bodybuilders, it's like, I don't know, yeah. I think that's so cool. I mean, you inspire me too with all the stuff you do, how much you're on the grind with your podcast and like just the amount of work. I feel like you're just like endlessly working.
If I wasn't, I would be really nervous.
You have to.
And unhappy. Yeah. I think that there's something that changed in me, man, when you find out that there's not somebody that's going to come up in your life, it changes you. And I think that I've really harnessed my how I deal with absent parent syndrome, man. Mm-hmm. When I found out that my dad was really not coming to get me and that my stepdad wasn't being strict, he was just being loving and caring and wanted me to not grow up to be a fuck up. And
now you're probably thankful for your stepdad.
I'm so thankful for him,
like
man.
That, man.
And
I've said that a million times on here. I
so
thought my dad was like an asshole growing up, and now I am so, as an adult, so thankful for what he did and how he was hard on me, and just the fact, like, I mean, he was there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so me thinking my dad was an asshole, just the fact, like you said, he was there when there's other people that's dad wasn't there. So it's like, I mean, that's like huge. Like my dad was there and he was hard on me, and that was to make me stronger, like, but you don't think of it like that when you're a kid.
No, and I wish
You're
I
an
had a
asshole when
perspective.
you're a kid.
You're definitely an asshole when you're a
like,
kid. And I was definitely asshole-ish about how I dealt with
not having a dad.
Absent parent syndrome for a while, knowing that, like, I asked myself a lot of times, why am I not good enough? It led to a lot of insecurity. And I think that in life we build confidence based off of who we create ourselves to be. When we turn 18, we're told the whole world's waiting for you. How many people really tap into that? I told myself, you know what? Yeah, fucking right it is. And I sprinted. I sprinted away from who I was in my childhood. I sprinted who I was in my teenage years. I sprinted away from my nightmares.
Yeah.
I sprinted away from, not having someone I needed there for me the whole life that was there. I left. I went to the military. I came back home. And now here I am after doing fitness and then jiu-jitsu and this self-defense journey that I'm currently even still to this day on. I've limited my alcohol intake. Mm-hmm. I don't do things that debilitate my brain, like watch porn or fucking.
Dude,
I don't do
one,
any of
actually.
that shit.
That's
right?
a big one, honestly.
Yeah. Have you seen it? Have you seen a major difference in your your brain? I felt like when I made the switch, my brain was like.
It's a dopamine thing, dude. It's too easy. It's just too much of a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta limit that stuff. So like I found that out with like I said, doing this prep, like I just cut that out. I cut all that out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, clarity, bro. Clarity.
I think it's we've talked about it on here with it was Sonia Spill was here. Her boyfriend Matt Moses was here talking about his psilocybin and everything. And speaking of that, that's a great thing. A lot of people with PTSD, they've been studying psilocybin a lot. And
it's huge in Colorado right now with the veteran community.
Yeah, and so so she's like a hormone specialist, and she's very intelligent with like the processes of the human body. And so like she was kind of breaking it down with the porn thing. It's like it's just dopamine once again. So you're giving your body all these easy dopamine hits all the time. So every time you watch porn, every time you jerk off, every time you like eat a cookie, every time it's like too easy. So like if you can limit those things, then you start feeling joy in like normal life again because you're not over stimulating your dopamine. You know what I'm saying? So like then it's like so the idea is being like, kind of like what Zach was talking about, where like you override the hedonistic basic human shit so you put in discipline. So like you hold off and then you do something hard. And then when you do like get to a chance to like have a dopamine hit, you enjoy it more. So
self-discipline is self-love. Yes.
Oh yeah. We talked about that a lot on here the other time, dude. But it is true. So you're limiting these dopamine things. Then when you do find an enjoyable experience, like you said, like having sex or whatever, it's like way more enjoyable than all these little porn hits where you're just watching porn and then done.
Yes, Lord.
Done. Like
I was talking with somebody about this today because I was really interested because I wanted to bring this up during our conversation. This guy was talking about how his life, he's very, very busy with his life. He was just one of the security guards at the place I work at, and he was like, "Oh man, my life, blah blah. Like I really find time to jerk off anymore." I'm like, "Then stop."
Yeah.
And he's like,
whatever.
He's like, "What do you mean stop?" And I'm like, "Stop. Don't you miss the hunt?"
Yeah.
Where don't. And it's
well,
not.
It's kind of like
it's kind of
like playing video games.
Don't you miss just like not having instant gratification?
Well, that's the thing. It's too instant So it's kind of the same thing as like you're playing a video game all the time. It becomes more exciting than your real life. Or if you took all that energy you're putting in the video game and put it into your real life, you know what I'm saying? Like, so play the game. We had that dude Jesse on here. He's like, you be the video game. Your life's the video game. Now go fucking optimize your life.
What if you put your dick down and you picked up a lady's hand?
Yeah,
and then you found yourself lost in her eyes, right? How amazing would that be?
That would require work. That's the problem is these people don't want to work, dude. They like that easy, like hedonistic. But then it's too easy. You're like, bro, there's nothing better than the real thing.
I don't think. I think
it's a major problem for kids these days.
I think.
Like they say, like kids aren't having sex anymore. They're basically just like on their phones all the time. Like they don't know how to talk to people in the real world. I don't know.
And this, I can't remember which one I used to use or whatever the fuck. Like this is not going to do it for me. It's not going to do it for me. I need somebody. And as I've grown older,
I think it does kind of fuck your brain
like,
up.
It does fuck your brain up. Like, like think of how ridiculous it is. You're watching sex actors act, and you're getting off to it. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not saying I hate sex workers because I support all my sex.
And I mean even like
shout out to all my sex workers.
We probably all learned how to have sex from porn.
But I think it's exceptionally important for human beings to find their best version of reality. My best version of reality doesn't involve me watching porn on a TV or wherever the fuck people watch porn these days, right?
Yeah.
So my version of sexual excitement and the feelings, you know. And it leads into this life that we live, right? With as far as fitness goes, there is nothing more beautiful to me than the image of a woman's body, right?
Yeah,
it's real, it's raw, it's uncut. It carries children. It builds and loses fat as far as life takes it. Like,
right.
Dude, the shape of a fucking woman's body is art, right?
Yeah.
The shape of our bodies is our version of art, and we create that. We can create that with this bodybuilding
100%.
You don't have to fucking add the fake tits. You don't have to fucking add the quads. You just need to squat for it.
Yeah.
And when you work for it, how great is it that you have this permanent,
it's
fully built Jeep or AR-15, whatever platform you want to use for this description. You're building something magnificent. Once your foundation is there,
it's
your
not
body,
taking this beautiful gift of this body for granted that we've been given.
Yes. So
it's
you know what? So
gift.
fuck that app. Take your shirt off. Do it anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it anyways.
No, I'm with you, dude. Like, I do feel like the human body is something we should respect, and I don't think people realize how what they're capable of. And I feel like I've said this before. Like, I mean, I was high on mushrooms, but I was like, human beings are these beautiful, divine creatures, and we don't do that anymore. We've forgotten that we're like these beautiful things from nature. You know what I'm saying? And we just take our bodies for granted and we just pollute them with shit constantly all day. And
dude, I just want to, I'm trying to be as transparent as possible while being respectful at the same time. There is nothing more exciting on this earth than being with my wife, right? Because she's my best friend. She's more than just my sex partner.
You got a good thing going.
Yeah. And I think that if we all look at life and say, what's more important? This or a fucking human being, right? It's really an easy decision. When we look at it like that, we don't. We look for instant gratification.
It's the instant gratification.
When we break away from the idea of instant gratification, we have goals. We have aspirations. We have purpose. Purpose is what we need, right?
Well, like Zach was saying, that's your higher calling. So most people never break out of that low state of just that low energy vibration of just eating, sleeping, watching porn. It's this dull state of existence, but you have to use discipline to raise above that, to elevate above that. But most people never do because it's too much work,
Something I did, I listened to one of those assholes that sells Amway.
What's the Amway?
The Amway is where they go online, the pyramid scheme stuff like that.
Oh fuck!
So I listened to one of their teachings. It's one of the most fun and interesting things I've ever done.
Yeah.
Cut out the weak, jelly backbone individuals in your life. Not out of your life fully. Just cut them out of your people who you look up to for a second. Just for a second, not for that forever. For a second, and look over at the people who aren't like that. People who have mental fortitude, people who believe in themselves, people who don't believe in themselves, but do the work to get to the point where they do believe in themselves.
Yes, that's a big one.
People who are laying bricks, people who are seeking further knowledge in life, people who are excited about great things, that no matter how large or small they might appear to others. People who are like me and they love Christmas because it's their favorite holiday. No, I'm fucking around. I love the time of Christmas.
Christmas is my favorite holiday. Also, shout out to Halloween.
Dude, Halloween.
Those are my two favorites. But there's something magical about Christmas.
Yes, and people in that
I can't
moment,
even describe the joy, dude.
Yes, and this is why I bring up Christmas. How is everybody when we around Christmas? Everything's possible. It's a
love.
magical season, love.
Dude, I love everything about it.
We have to love everyone.
Absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely
wonderful.
beautiful. Millions and millions of
Millions of
presents.
people.
You know, I think it's so great when we take
Nobody does Christmas like me. It's
Nobody.
the greatest Christmas ever.
15 trees.
People walk in, they tell me, nobody does Christmas like you. I say, I know. It's amazing. Dude, we always end up doing Trump.
Fucking Trump impressions, man.
Yeah.
Can't get over it. But like during Christmas, like everything's possible.
Yeah,
Everything's magical. Love is possible. Like that movie Snow Day when we were kids.
Yeah.
Snow Day. Everything's possible on a snow day. What if you looked at
Dude,
that?
what do you love about Christmas? Oh, let me finish your thought first.
I love the fact that people have limitless abilities, and that's what I'm getting around to, because people have limitless capabilities. When Christmas is here, they say, you know what? I believe I can do anything, and that's how this New Year resolution shit shows up. And then the rest of the year, you doubt yourself, and you doubt yourself, and you doubt yourself, and you make excuses after excuses, and you push your shit to the side because, oh well, you know, I could do this, but I have to deal with my bills.
Yeah.
Cut to the part where I drink a bunch all fucking weekend and ignore my goals anyway.
Yeah,
so
ignore my goals.
I love Christmas because that loop of I see what I want to do, I divert because of bills, I waste my money anyways, is avoided.
Yeah.
It's
just
give this
magic.
to this present for this person. They're going to be so excited when they see it because everybody wants to give. What if we put a mirror in between all these different three things and you do that to yourself? You give yourself the positive affirmations that you can do this, you will do this, you must do this.
Yep.
Goal, aspiration, whatever.
Take away even the possibility that you won't do it.
Yes.
Don't even give yourself the option.
No failure.
Yeah.
No failure.
Yeah.
Failure is never final. Tim Kennedy's book said it. If anybody hasn't listened to the Tim Kennedy book on Audible, Scars and Stripes, listen to it. Don't just shut off your weekend. Don't go out to the club. Don't twerk. Nothing.
I promise you, I will
dude.
listen to that immediately.
You're gonna freaking freak out.
I've
man.
loved every time he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast. Tim Kennedy is a cool dude.
You showed up and gave Joe's first podcast, or one of his first podcasts in Texas. He buys FN 509.
Yeah, dude. Tim Kennedy's the shit.
Oh man, definitely one of my inspirations in life because he understands that you can fail forward.
Well, and failing is just part of. You're not going to be anybody if you haven't done. Failing is everything.
Yeah,
that's how you learn, dude. I mean, I basically like my show. I kind of failed in a sense, but I won in another sense. Like,
what do you mean?
Well, like it was my first show, so I didn't place that great or anything.
When you're new to something, man, like
that's normal.
Jordan Peterson said it. Like I brought it up
earlier.
You
gotta be a fool.
You have to be a fool when you start, right?
Yeah.
But the more now you can look at yourself on stage. Like I looked at your stage picture. Now you can say, okay, well I need to add this here, this here, and this is going to complement this. And bodybuilding is really fucking simple. People make it really, really difficult. It's really not. You're attempting to achieve this physical perfection, this Greek god aesthetics, and whatever the judges is their standards are at the time is the loophole.
Yeah.
That's the what do I have to do now? So you kind of just mix and match, and the more time you take to build this physical form with the goal in mind, understanding that it's changing rapidly all the time, you will succeed no matter what.
Right.
As long as I think the long preps are what do it for me. Like when I was doing bodybuilding,
the longer the better.
The longer the better, right? I've never done two shows close to each other. I've always done, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I just haven't done it.
It's a tough thing. Yeah.
It's tough, dude.
Yeah.
But we get addicted to the feeling of chasing physical supremacy and being great.
It's so addicting, dude. Like, yeah.
I think I enjoyed the building.
But trust me, when I'm done with this show, I'll be ready for that off season,
bro. And don't.
But I'm not going to think of the off season as be lazy and get fat.
No, it's the growth season.
I'm thinking of the off season as like,
build the fucking back.
Yes,
build the
back.
Chest.
Dude,
build
the back,
the chest and the arms.
Especially the back, bro. Like, yes, everything. Yeah, chest, arms, all that shit too. But like, yeah, definitely having a huge ass back is a goal, dude.
And the width, right? Hitting your back. I think hitting your back from different every single angle possible is so important.
I do too, man. I think you're right.
We often, as human beings, neglect the fact that our back, its literal job is to put things behind us while they're still in front of us.
The back muscles are so complex, dude.
Yes, spider web. Down, this way, this way, this way. People forget about this way.
Yes.
Pulling down at different angles. All of it matters.
All of it, dude. All of it. You're so right.
Your lats matter, okay?
Yes, lats matter.
Lats matter. Make put on a T-shirt or some shit like
Yes.
that.
They do, man. Big lats matter.
Yeah,
There
big
you
lats
go.
matter. I love it. I can get down with that.
Yeah.
I think it's so important for us to seek our own version of perfection, physical perfection. Like my goal in life is after I'm finally in the area where I can feel
You're
kind of
gonna feel
comfortable,
better if you do.
like
I'll tell you
like
that.
pressing, and I could feel comfortable bench pressing, shoulder pressing.
that shoulder
no
back.
more pain. I want to go back to achieving my own version of being as physically attractive as possible for my partner, not just my partner in life, right?
Well, dude, I think that's huge
I
because
think
so
it's
many
important.
people, when they fall in love, they just give up. They're
Don't
like,
fucking
I've
give
already
up,
got
man.
her. But it's like, why not stay attractive for her, right?
Yes, seek your own physical perfection, and I'm not saying that you need to have a Greek god body or whatever.
No, not everybody does.
Just look when you feel like your best, you look your best, you work your best, you fuck your best. Everything's the best.
Right.
When you sleep the best, you eat the best.
Food
all
tastes
of it.
the best.
Food tastes the best. And how great would it be if we did hard things often to where we appreciate the small things? Like Zawadi vodka, sitting here drinking it. I don't often like drink vodka.
Well, you kind
I
of
took a little
also.
sip and I'm like, wow, this is really nice.
Dude, it was
Because
delicious.
it's its own version of perfection, right?
Well, somebody somebody perfected that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody
How
put
fucking sick is that?
hours and like their love into that, dude. They're fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I love eating like really good food that was made by somebody, because you know that they put all this, like, you think about like when you're like for me, like when I'm a kid, like my grandma's food, like my grandma's cookies. Like you think about, like, there's nothing better, dude. Like she put all that, like, work and love, and like there's something about it, dude.
Seeking their version of whatever they're creating has to be their perfection.
And it's so cheesy. It's like, what's the secret ingredient? Grandma's love.
The grandma's love.
You know what
It
I'm
really
saying?
is.
But it really is a
love.
thing, bro. Like,
So what's the future look like for you after you're talking about going into possibly maybe jiu-jitsu, or what are you thinking about in the future?
Well,
gun training, where does it start?
I would definitely like to shoot guns. I think it'd be a cool thing to do. I definitely would like to get a bow and shoot bow again, because that's so fun. Also, just for the fun of it. So like my future definitely looks like, so right now my personal training is like really been taking off. Like I'm getting a lot of clients now. So figuring out how to balance that with still being a bartender. After this show, I want to go into an off season. And, one of my goals is to be able to go out with my friends and enjoy food at a restaurant every once in a while for like a cheap meal. But also I don't want to lose the strictness that I've had. But I want to open up to like being able to go out with friends and enjoy stuff once in a while. Because I've been super hard on myself in the past where I wouldn't even allow myself to even like do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's a goal. But also like you said, when I start my off season, I do not want to be one of those people that's like, let's just fucking get fat and have fun. And like, no, I want to still train extremely fucking hard. I want to grow over the off season. I want to do some more shows next year while I'm still like, I say while I'm still young enough, but like there's dudes I see at these shows that are in their fucking 60s and shit, dude. Like it's wild. You get these, I don't know how long I'll do it. Like you said, I feel like I'm with you. Bodybuilding is a chapter. And then at some point, I feel like I will get into something more functional form of training as I get older, because I want to keep my body capable as I get older.
For me, self-defense, my self-defense journey is definitely separate than my fitness journey.
Like two separate things.
There's two separate things. So, dude, jiu-jitsu is like a very, very, for a lot of people who don't have a whole lot of muscular stamina and also cardiovascular stamina, it can be very, very hard to go into jiu-jitsu. I feel every time I'm done with an hour and a half straight of rolling, I'm like, how many more rounds we got left? And they're like, all right, that's it. And I'm like,
so you like kind of got the motor.
I had this thing that, and
You got the cardio.
I wish I had the knowledge on the other side of it. I'm gonna be honest. I wish I had like the knowledge of jiu-jitsu so I could be like winning the whole time, but
Right. So
or,
you got
or maybe not even winning, maybe just doing well. But
You have the
I'm just
engine, you have the
learning.
cardio, but you need to get the skill level.
The skill level is cup is empty, brother. Okay.
Yeah. But you'll learn.
Yeah, and people tell me
But
I'm
it
improving,
takes
which
years,
is great.
dude. It takes years.
Yes.
So you can't even be hard on yourself yet. You just started.
I mean, I've gone to nine training classes in 1 week, and I don't think I've ever been as purple as I was that week.
So you're a dude that like when you go into something, you fucking go all in.
Yes.
Like you just like you go fucking.
Well, you have to full immersion, right, until you understand your physical limits, and then you can back off a little bit, and then press those limits just a little bit further back. It's like turning something like on an adjustment switch. You twist it. You hear a click.
Ooh,
you twist it
that's
back.
it.
You hear another click. Okay, and halfway in between.
Ease off a little bit.
You want to press.
Yeah.
You want to press the envelope, push the envelope until it's literally like hanging on by a thread before it bounces and fall off the table.
You find that good balance there.
And some days you just don't have it, dude. Yesterday I fucking sucked.
Yeah.
I
You're gonna
sucked.
have days like that though, dude.
But I still showed up and I still tried my best. I just was physically not there.
Even going to the gym, dude, if you have like a bad day, it's still better going.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. So what's the future like for you, dude? Like,
Dude,
keep going with this jiu-jitsu journey.
100% focused into
Adding to your arsenal.
adding to my arsenal of self-defense, jiu-jitsu, and then a whole lot of more involvement with merging veterans and players, man. It's something that I really believe in, and it's a
You
simple.
get so much out of that too, dude.
Get so much out of helping veterans. How great would it be if we all had this circle where we could talk to somebody? Man, dude,
Or you
drove
had
by-
that guy like you that will come anytime at night. Give him a call. I need you here now. Boom, they're there.
Yes, and I'm so thankful that it's not always that, because that can be super sad for that person experience to need to reach out. But a lot of times it's not that. A lot of times it's just, hey bro, I'm just here to check on you. I saw you got a new dog. Good for you. Or they call me, hey man, what you doing this week? Like Tony Dayton, Josh Wielden, Sean Stokes, Cody, freaking Elliott, Matt. You know, I can go down. I can just name people who are in my life who check on me often.
Yeah.
People who just check on you.
Yep.
Everyone would feel so less lonely if that was the case. And for the veteran industry, it's really important for me to help others feel like they're noted, and also for the athletes as well.
Yeah. Well, you know, the other thing I'm thinking is like aging veterans, dude. Because I think
Vietnam vets, right?
I think the hardest thing is they say a lot of, especially men as they get older, they get so lonely. You know, if they don't have a partner, there's a lot of loneliness in the elderly. You know, they just have nobody.
I think I don't hope I'm not speaking incorrectly, but I think the highest demographic for veterans committing suicide is elderly vets right now. And it's so sad because Vietnam vets do not have a lack of purpose. They are very purposeful, and they're not just Vietnam vets. They're fucking human beings. Mm-hmm. When we take off our military uniform or our athletic gear that we're using for our sport, we often lose that identity.
Yeah.
We don't have to. We can find purpose, and we can find it with continuation, and we can create life outside.
Well, that's huge, dude.
That.
Because it's such a part of your identity. You take that away, and then they feel like, well, what am I now?
Well, I'll never be able to remove my tattoos from the military. Hold fast, cross the biceps. Don't try to be on my left arm. Like I can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. It's a part of me.
Right.
But am I just a vet? Fuck no.
Oh, you're so much more than that. Like
Yes.
And I think that's important. Like no matter what you do, bodybuilder, pro wrestler, this or that, you got to realize like you're a full human being outside of all that. Like you can't just stake your identity on one thing.
Definitely not.
Because it becomes dangerous. Because then when that gets taken away, then what are you? You know, like.
And that is right. That right there is what merging veterans and players is about. It doesn't matter if you're an NFL superstar like Jake Glazer. It doesn't matter if you're a Green Beret like Nate Boyer. It doesn't matter if you're a fucking Green Beret who's a Medal of Honor recipient. If you leave the military and you are going through a tough time, I really encourage anybody to latch on to merging veterans and players. They have a Tuesday online session where you can join. Mm-hmm. You're a former athlete as well. You can join, man. Come down with me. We'll roll down the way to Renton on a Thursday, and you'll meet some incredible human beings who some can't physically fucking walk, and they are the tallest people in my life, man. Matt is.
Yeah.
He's always advocating for soldiers and sailors and Marines and whatever the hell they call the Coast Guard.
Right.
Joke, a little bit of jokes,
That's
but
joke.
I love what he does, man. He's one of my heroes. Mm-hmm. Him and his dog, because he does have a service dog that rolls with him, and I really admire him, man. I think it's so important for us to find people to latch onto in life, and
huge.
I'm so thankful that I latched onto you.
It's huge, dude. Community's huge. That's why I like keep having like. you on here multiple times. I have Zach on multiple times. I have Sam on. Like, I've had, oh God, there's so many other people on, you know, like, it's like building this community of these really cool people. You know what I'm saying? That's like, I love it, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's like the podcast community, you know? Like,
100%,
yeah.
dude. I think it's very beautiful.
And I get so much out of it, dude. Like, every time you sit down with somebody, you learn so much. Like you said, we're like usually just constantly on our phones. Like, how often do you get to do this with people? And then you have people on that are so, like, me and you can, like, jive with a lot of different, I use the word jive, that's funny.
I love it.
We can, like, connect with a lot of things. You know, we're, like, not super far in age. We, like, have similar, but then, like, once in a while you'll have people that are totally different on it. So you get to, like, really expand. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
even having, like, Tiana on and the other kid that was super young, just having young people on, you're like, it gives you a different perspective.
Next time, I should bring my wife's little brother, Jackson.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
11 years old.
Have him on the podcast, dude. That'd be fun.
No, we'll roll up and we'll talk about this day and age, and you'll be overwhelmed at the outlets that some human beings have. He wants to grow up and be a part of a SWAT team, and he practices understanding what constitutes deadly force and what doesn't, so he doesn't make a horrible decision when he grows up and turns 21, goes to police academy, and then hopefully makes.
When
it to a
you
SWAT
got to
team.
think, you're probably a big influence on him in his life too. Positive.
I hope that I can steer him in a direction
I
of
feel like you probably are,
protecting and preserving life.
man. Yep.
When you not shoot is so much more important than when you do shoot. And those are the, like, you have to understand as a gun owner, a responsible gun owner, understanding when not to shoot is life and death.
Well, it's huge, dude. Like, you don't want to do
Remove
that.
life.
Right.
Removing life is not a positive thing.
No, and it's gonna weigh on you and stuff. So, I remember I told you that story. There was the dude that was like the country music singer, and someone like broke into his house, and he had his gun, and he was like, the guy, he almost shot him, but he like stopped himself because he's like, I don't want to be the guy that ends this guy's life, and like, I have the gun on him. He's not doing anything. The cops are coming. Like,
Don't shoot.
I don't need to shoot him. Like, he almost did, but he was like, he said it like flashed before him, like, wait, I don't have to shoot him right now because I have this situation under control. So like, he knew like exactly what you said, like when not to shoot.
Deep breathing exercises are important.
Right. I feel like that's part of your training, right? Like,
I practice a lot of different things.
huge part of training, right?
I have like a list of things that I practice, and I practice them sporadically because you never know when you're going to need them.
Right.
And there's so many different tools to know and to learn. And self-defense journey is not, it's not a destination. It's something you constantly do. Just like jiu-jitsu is something you constantly do. Fitness should be something you constantly do. Self-improvement should be something you constantly do.
I feel like we should never be a finished product. The idea that you get to some level and you're just done,
is
like,
bullshit.
that's bull. I never want to fucking. If I ever say some shit like that to somebody, just punch me, dude.
I would not punch you. I'd be like, listen, brother, you are capable of so many great things.
Just
Keep
slap
going.
me then, like, just fucking like Nick.
I probably shed a tear. I'd be like, he's broken.
Someone broke Nick. Yeah,
Someone broke Nick, dude.
no, I never want to stop improving or like learning, dude. Like, you know.
I don't think you will, as long as you keep syncing up with other people on your podcast, man.
It's like you said, even like that guy, like you get bound to a wheelchair or something. There's still something you can do. There's something you can learn.
Dude,
There's something
can
be
playing,
of value.
He plays
like,
basketball.
Yeah.
He has this. It's like a tank, dude. He sits in a chair and it's like a tank. It's like motorized. I was able to. I got to put it in the back of like a trailer, and I was like freaking out. It was so cool. And to him, he can move. He can hunt off that thing. He was driving around. He was tearing up the snow, doing donuts. I was like,
shit, dude.
I was
So,
like weeping. I was like crying.
This is amazing.
I was so excited for him because it gave me hope. It gave me hope to see somebody who's
like, look,
strong.
this dude can be happy.
Yes.
You know, most people would be like, oh, that's like the end of their fucking life, but he's found a way to be happy with that.
He didn't give up, and I'm so glad he didn't. He was a phenomenal leader in the military. He still is a phenomenal leader outside of the military, and he has his purpose, which is advocating for veterans who are disabled.
Right.
And it's so amazing. Like the PVA, the Paralyzed Veterans of America, he's a big part of that. And man,
Dude,
he's
huge.
one of my heroes. He goes to the White House. He goes to Congress. He flies all over the place. He goes down to California and tells people they're not gonna target people because they're in fucking wheelchairs and take advantage of them or treat them like shit in their workplace or
That's
whatever.
big.
He's a fucking giant.
Yeah.
And not just because he's like fucking huge, but
you look up to the guy, yeah.
huge, man. And then there's Cody, man. That's one of my honest heroes, man. Cody,
It's
he
so
owns his
good
own,
to
he
have
owns
these
his own
people
gym,
look
bro.
up to, dude.
He owns his own gym. He's a he's a Marine veteran as well. He's a huge advocate for MVP. When they first got started, he responded to a freaking huge disaster.
Yeah.
And then he went down there and did some disaster relief efforts. Right. Came up here. He runs his own gym. He is the reason MVP is alive here in the Seattle area. And wow, what would life be if we didn't have amazing people to look up to, especially who used to be. They used to wear a military uniform and do cool shit.
Yes. And now they're still doing cool shit, just in a different way. Yeah, I like that idea that like there's always something else you can do. Like, so you get that identity taken away from you, but you can always form a new one.
Yes.
And be of service, be of value, like
service after service. I love it.
Yeah, man. Like there's always something new. I feel like people should look. I don't know, like people always end up like feel like there's a certain end to like. It's like no, there's always something more. You can't do this anymore, but now you can do this.
Yes.
You don't have to look at it as a negative. Now you've moved into this chapter. Because I feel like that with bodybuilding, like I'm gonna be sad when I can't like the last time I'm able to like deadlift my heaviest weight, as I age. Like there's gonna be that day. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely understand, man. Because I hit that when I tore my shoulder, dude. Like
there's stuff you can't do anymore.
There's stuff I can't do anymore, and if it wasn't for a great military leader saying that there's chapters in life and sometimes you need to just for the next page and it's a brand new one.
Well, that's why like with wrestling, I'm fine if I never wrestle again. You know what I'm saying?
I think you should start jiu-jitsu. That's what I think.
Oh, maybe someday, dude.
Dude,
start
it up, man.
I do have tremendous respect for it. Definitely.
You might as well. I know a spot. You're going to be moving closer to me anyways. You might as well just come on down after your next show.
Right after the next show.
June 24th, Tangy Johnson's show.
Tangy Johnson.
I know people, representatives, my buddy Elliot for sure, and maybe me as well. We're going to be showing, I hope, it's my birthday. I don't know if I'm going to show up, but if I do show up,
Wait, June 24th is your birthday?
June 24th
Dude, that's
is my
dope.
birthday. It's the best day of the year.
That's amazing.
And I if I am there, I'm going to be super pumped about it because, wow, to watch you compete.
Yeah, a couple people might end up coming, so that'd be dope if you showed up there.
I would love to. I would love to show up.
We could have a fucking big ass meal after the show. Yeah.
You know what? There might be some things in the works. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see, dude.
My wife has to work that day in the morning, so hopefully, I don't know what the day has to offer, but I try to make my birthday not about me. I try to make it about the people that I care about. And you're definitely somebody I care about.
That's good because, like, I'm kind of like that with birthdays, too. I'm like, fuck my birthday, dude.
Yeah.
I'm
like, older? Fuck.
Yeah, it's kind of like I'd rather just, like, be celebrated for, like, cool shit I do than just some day I was born on, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I like being surrounded by people that I care about, though.
Though that's true. Like,
because I get sad on my birthdays.
If you're not.
No, at all.
Oh,
and
just
so having people around me is really special.
It's dope that your favorite holiday is Christmas, though. Me too. Yeah. Oh, all right, dude, we should wrap this thing up.
Yeah,
dude. It's about time to go.
We're streaming and beaming, man.
Man, I really appreciate you being here. And I think we'll just call this one good for today.
I think I called it a big win. Much love, y'all. Hey, make sure to sign up for the listener support program for my brother here. If you love supporting the podcast and or the subscription program, and if you really want to do this guy a service, make sure you listen to what he's sponsored with. Take advantage of discounts. If you look at manscaped.com, 20% off with the code Nicky Fit.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not do yourself a service and clean up downstairs?
Do your balls a service,
dude. You do not want to be looking unkept for your
partner. You're talking about like, hey guys, quit fucking watching porn. Actually go out and find a real woman. So to start with that, order a Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 and shave them balls up. So
I love the lawnmower,
dude. She's gonna like. Pull it out and it's gonna be all hairy and gross. She's gonna be like, "What the fuck?
She's like, what the fuck is this?"
Clean that shit up, dude.
If they clean up, you should clean up.
You gotta.
You know what? It's the law.
Well, yeah, and you want them to clean up, so you better fucking clean up too,
yes,
bro.
Be presentable, men. Be presentable, men out there.
We love it, dude. All right, man. Eddie, thank you so much. I love you, dude.
Much love, brother.
We will see you guys next time, and thank you for listening.